streaming.
I'm just trying to jog my memory here for the point I wanted to bring up. There's something. Mute that.
Something Star Wars related, though, huh?
It is.
Rise of Skywalker? I don't have a box office update this week. It passed a billion worldwide, 500 million domestically over the last week, which is pretty good.
Yeah. For show.
But yeah, nothing really news-wise, hence the all quiet.
Just give me a minute. Let me try and think of this.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Fuck. Something more related to the show, or just
No,
Star
it was.
Wars in
I think it was
general?
Rise of Skywalker related. That, like, I want to say it had something to do with like a continuity issue. We talked about that whole thing with
the leaked script from Trevorrow.
no,
Oh.
that John Williams' music
Is in Star Wars. Oh, you were talking about the
how it's like racist. John Williams' music is racist.
we didn't talk about that, I don't think.
I don't think that's it, but that's.
Which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But not surprising to hear it based off of all the fucking morons on the internet these days. But yeah, they'll determine anything as racist at this point. Like, this Oktoberfest mug is probably racist for some reason. Somebody can find a reason to draw that line.
I think this was it. Because it was while I was listening to something.
Which I would love to know how they're connecting those dots. That's. I mean, it could be worth a laugh, if nothing else. Oh, jeez.
Nick is the one that had.
He's the one that looks at all the clickbait stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yep. Just watch myself yawn on camera. This isn't the show for anybody who hasn't seen before. We're preparing
This
to
is the
start the
pre-show.
pod. Yes. Not very interesting today because nobody's hopped into the chat yet. I guess.
Well, it is an odd time, and not everybody has a day off like we do.
Yeah. So. They are forgiven.
Fuck, I don't have it.
Went into a comic store on South Street.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about it. I'll talk about my week. Yeah, that's good enough. Well, at least your wife's watching.
Yeah. Wow, thanks for what?
I don't know. Hey, Tevin.
Hey! Hey!
Hey!
Why is she saying wow, thanks?
I don't know. Babu.
Yeah. Yeah, me either.
All right. God damn. God, people suck.
There it is. Hey, Arsolski.
Hey!
Yeah, we're just we're a little cold, getting ready to start the show. I don't know what Dave's doing over there. We're actually almost ready.
I think I am ready.
All right. My toast.
Was looking for 5-star reviews is what I was doing.
Oh.
Just to make sure we didn't miss
I
anything.
haven't checked since last week.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of here. Nope. Your mother-in-law is still the last one.
All right, fair enough.
Let me get Podbelly open. Okay. I'm ready when you are.
All right. My toast. 30 seconds of silence. Starting. Oh, and Solsky, y'all need to start some 30 seconds of silence before the fucking escape pod. Makes it a lot easier for me to cut out your pre-show banter versus the actual show. So I look for the dead spot in the audio. But anyway, 30 seconds of silence starting now. Wait, hold on. Fuck. Pause that. Rewind.
One. Now it's off.
All right, 30 seconds of silence starting now. To John Lynch.
To John Lynch.
Who'd have thought the old safety would make one hell of a GM?
What's funny is you had JL in the notes. I'm like, who the fuck is JL? I figured it would be the 49ers or maybe your fucking boy Garoppolo or whatever. Garoppolo who didn't do shit.
He didn't have to.
Yeah, apparently not.
To.
Apparently the secret to beating the Packers was just to keep running.
Yeah, holy shit, man. Well, but we'll get into that. But until then, hello, everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
Week. See, you said it. Each and every week. It's not necessarily the same exact day and time.
Right.
It's a podcast that gets released and people listen to it. The benefit of having a live audience is just for interaction, for chat and everything else. However, each and every week, not each and every Monday at 6 p.m.,
Right.
which as much as I'd love to have that happen, but somebody's fucking football team decided it wanted to go to the Super Bowl and
Indeed
fuck
they
everything
did.
up. When everything else was set in fucking sand.
Yeah. Clear as mud.
Yep.
And hello, Kelly, in the chat. So, what are we talking about this week? Aside from football, which we are going to get into a little bit.
I think we're going to... I had something for this. Oh, yeah. So, I know that the fans really didn't want us to cover Clone Wars. They told us multiple times that the Clone Wars are garbage. You know, there's a bunch of fucking just bullshit episodes. But we, being the consummate professionals that we are, have decided to go ahead and watch the more important of the Clone Wars episodes when season 7 kicks off.
Yes.
We will be prepared to give the appropriate commentary.
Yep.
So, despite all of your misgivings there, listening audience, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the Clone Wars. Like, for reals this time.
Yes. Yeah, we're referencing that Nerdist article that I think we touched on last week, talking about the 12 essential Clone Wars episodes to watch before season 7 comes out.
Right.
Now, the article is a little misleading because it's not 12 episodes, it's 12 storylines.
Right.
So, as we're only covering... He's no LeBron, I'll give him that. But we're...
More ways than one.
We're covering 2 storylines today, which they list as 2 episodes, but it's really 4 episodes. Are you all right?
No, my fucking... No. Jesus Christ.
Should I call 911 or
no? It's when I stop owing. That's when it's not good.
Christ. I'm watching Dave fall apart in front of my very eyes. This is actually quite humorous.
Actually, you probably are watching over the period of 135 different episodes. You can watch me slowly break down into a heap of mess.
Yeah, though you can only watch for about
excuse me,
maybe 100 of those episodes because we didn't start doing video until at least halfway through our first year.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah, so.
That seems like a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. It's gonna be 3 years this May.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on. Anything else on our main topic?
No, but I do have to give the appropriate shout out to podbelly.com.
Yay.
Pig out on a network of podcasts that feed your listening needs. Start with the top. The number 1 greatest podcast in the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
The All Things Star Wars podcast. Right at the top. Go to podbelly.com. There we are.
We're number 1.
Featured. Right at the top.
Has nothing to do with the fact that we start with A.
Yeah. And it's ALL. And then the next one is ART for Art and Jacob Do America. But all kinds of... Jason's very distracting as he's looking for his Patreon list.
God damn it.
But so go to podbelly.com. Look at all the wonderful podcasts that are there. What the fuck was it doing in there?
I have no idea.
Did you... What?
I think this was
We obviously drank too much after the last podcast.
This was open and it felt like, oh God, like I was shit-faced by the
yeah.
end of that episode.
I got home and forgot. I remember eating dinner, but forgot what I ate. Because the next day, Kathy was like, yeah, you drank too much. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, what did we have for dinner? I'm like, this? Like, no. It was this thing you're eating right now. It's called leftovers. I'm like, oh, I don't remember eating that. She's like, yeah, I know. So, whoopsie. That was good times. Good times last week.
It was good having a guest, but it's also good being back to just the 2 of us.
Yeah, indeed. Just getting to spread out a little bit,
Yeah, we had two weeks of an in-studio guest, which is pretty rare for us.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just we're back going solo. Would it be considered going solo?
Going solo.
Since it's 2 of us.
Well, yeah. All depends.
Yeah.
We could CGI another character in here.
We could, and we should.
Podbelly.com.
Yes.
And
you will do it. And then big shout out to all of our patrons: Tony Ferrari, Camille Donovan, Nick Jackson, Frederick Martin, Big Lovin', Scott Rasmussen, Tactical Swede, Don Solsky, and Shotgun Mark. Thank you for supporting the show. You are the reason why we do this.
have you checked it recently to make sure that we don't have additional Patreon people?
I have not actually.
Yeah, you should probably look at that because they could be like listening right now and going like,
Being
how
like,
come
what
he's
the
not
fuck?
saying my name?
That is true. So I will. Hello there, Julius. So, yeah, if you want to support the All Things Star Wars podcast, please go to patreon.com/ATSW podcast. And whatever you give us goes right back into the show. And we appreciate it.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
We bought these fancy headphones. We got to figure out how to actually make them work.
Yeah. Well, they kind of work. We
We need more than one channel out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a working prototype. It's a start.
It's a start for sure. It'd
We'll
be
get
fun to wear them though, because then
Yes.
you feel like we're doing something.
Right. And that's for the call-in guests, which we need to work on. TBD. So anyway, this is normally where we start ranting about Star Wars news, but quite frankly, there really hasn't been much in the last week since we recorded. I mean, Rise of Skywalker is still in somewhat release out in theaters. It's not what's the word you used? where it's like playing on a shitload of theaters. There's a word for it. Anyway, it's on a lot less theaters now. It's still making money. Past $1 billion worldwide, past 500 million US. Not too fucking shabby, but
No.
if you listen to all these fucktards on the internet, they tell you it's a disaster, it's a failure. It's not.
I'm gonna rant about the internet here when it comes to my week.
Okay, well, to continue with this portion, I actually saw, oh my god, I saw it was an article, and this is the thing, people on every side of the fucking political aisle are trying to tear it down for their own specific purposes. I'm seeing people who are saying how it's the worst reviewed movie, and just so much stuff, and they're all like spinning it in their own little political ways, and I hate it so much.
I've been on basically a social media hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
I put a couple stuff out there, but I'm not really like looking at it. Like if people have actually tried to reach out to me or tag me in anything, like I'm not paying attention to it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
There's like a step off point for where, you know, if you start your day and you're looking at a bunch of this fucking bullshit, right? Because everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, opinions are like assholes, right? So, and that's fine. Social media being what it is and everyone having that opportunity to fucking let everyone know their opinion,
mm-hmm.
I just need to not be around social media. You can't possibly mute all of the fucktards out there.
Oh yeah.
That just don't understand what the fuck they're talking about. They are repeating rhetoric from somebody to fuck else, and spouting it out like it's their own information that they've researched and everything else. Do some fucking research, have an informed opinion, and then maybe even when you get to that point, you've done research, you have an informed opinion, guess what? Nobody fucking cares.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking cares. Right? What is we're telling you this stuff. This is entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jason and I were going to talk about fucking Star Wars and bullshit about football and do all the other shit, regardless of whether you're listening or watching. We'd be doing it.
Yeah.
So this is fun for us.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bit of an escape into our favorite thing.
Yes.
So, but I'm not trying to, it's not trying to sway your opinion one way or another to see it the way that I see it.
I don't think so. I mean, we're very opinionated.
Oh, of course we are.
We express those opinions, but we're not telling any of you to go do it our way or don't do it at all.
Or go jump off a fucking cliff, unless you're certain people we've made mention to, and whatever. This is entertainment, right? But to think that, like, no matter how hard you stand on your porch and scream for somebody to listen to you, you're only going to be as far as your voice is going to carry. The internet just makes your voice carry a little bit further. Still, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody should give a fuck. Right. I don't need people hanging off my every fucking word for something. If you want to hear my opinion to help you make your decision, cool. I'm very, Jason knows I'm that fucking guy. Like, if you have a problem, I will do my best to solve it. That's my thing.
Yep.
But just I've decided that when I want to say something on the internet, when I want to respond to some fucking stupid bullshit, right? Because it's an uninformed opinion, I'm not.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's not worth my time. It's not worth my time. It's not worth the fucking effort and aggravation. I just look at that and make a little checkbox in my fucking head. Here's one more qualifier to this person's a fucking moron. And then I go about my business.
Yeah.
And it's caused me to not be on the internet as much. It just, I'll go on Instagram and post a couple things just because, I take pictures and I want people to see the pictures. Maybe they think, oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like that tie pilot picture I took through the
I did see
the canopy of the fucking Lego tie. I thought that was cool.
That
So
was
I was just fucking around while I was watching football yesterday.
Yeah, and you mentioned the whole kind of backing off of social media because of this stuff. It's only going to get worse as this calendar year progresses.
I know.
Because of the nature of what's happening this year. So
Yeah.
I'll probably be taking major steps back from social media.
Yeah. And honestly, aside from inside the cantina where we have our little closed group, and we know what's going to be talked about in there, and what's and everything's tolerated. But if I see something in the cantina, then that's what I'll respond to. But anything else, probably not. Honestly, I might surf Twitter every once in a while just to see some of the shenanigans or see what's going on with sports. But I can't even hide in sports anymore. I feel like it's like watching a game is cool, but like then trying to like do some research or do something else, it's just like ugh.
It's political opinions they've invaded every other space.
Yeah.
The spaces that they have no business being in.
And it's so weird to think about just how invasive and pervasive it is. It's amazing. This is the first time we're encountering it. Like every day going forward, we've had the same social media outlets. Yeah, but every day there seems to be a new level of fucking bullshit, a new level of derision. And
judging by some of your notes, I think we've seen the next level.
Yeah. We've definitely taken a step to the fucking the abysmal fucking bullshit cavern, chasm, whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Anyway, who's Jan Jarin will be in the next Clone episode? Oh, I should know that.
We will research that person and we will get back to you. Julius,
I know who that is.
chat.
I know who that is. God damn it.
All right, well, let's pivot away from all this,
Anyway.
this downer of politics and whatnot. And I guess we'll just move right into our weeks because, like I said, really no Star Wars news to talk about. So with that being said, Niners are going to the Super Bowl, baby. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. What a fucking pounding.
That's who it is.
On fucking Aaron and the Packers last night. Man, I knew the 49ers were good. Like, about midway through the season, it's like, okay, this record is not some kind of a fluke. You started seeing, like, how just vicious they were on defense and how original the play calling was on offense.
Yeah.
And they kept it going. Every loss they had in the regular season was close, was within a touchdown for sure, but most of the time it was a field goal, an overtime loss, last second touchdown, whatnot. But they were strong all year. Fucking beat the piss out of the Vikings last week, and then last night fucking went in and did it again to the Packers. We were talking about before we started recording. Jimmy G threw the ball 8 times last night.
Yeah.
For the whole fucking game.
Yeah, I think because I really stopped paying attention to it like when the fourth quarter had started. So, and I think at that point he had thrown the ball 6 times.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Because even Aikman on the telecast was saying something like, I don't think I've ever thrown less than 6 passes and a half.
Yeah.
like he had done. So it's just fucking crazy. But hey, you know what? This is going to be a good Super Bowl.
I'd like to think so, yeah.
I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl. I think you've got 2 teams. What worries me is San Fran relying on the run for playing against Kansas City, knowing that you're going to rely on the run. I mean, you have what did Kittle have any? Like he had a couple
1 reception last
yeah.
night. Yeah.
So,
but they didn't need to pass it though. That's
right.
the thing.
But I go into this in the Super Bowl though. In the Super Bowl, now that I finally, my football franchise has a Super Bowl win, I feel like I can talk about it knowledgeably as opposed to the 2 losses before that.
Yeah.
But one of those was with Andy Reid, and I think that if you try to take the same mentality and this is what worked for us for fucking 18 games, we're going to keep doing that. I think that's a recipe for losing the Super Bowl.
Sure.
It's a totally different game. And I think you're going to have to expand a playbook. You're going to have to do things that maybe they haven't seen before. And I don't know. Did they ever talk about what happened to Tevin Coleman? Like, is it what he did?
Last I heard was a shoulder injury. I'm guessing he's not going to be back, but clearly they
Homeboy
can-
looked like somebody snapped his fucking forearm in half. The way it was
like,
fucking.
I was expecting like him to lift his arm up and his whole fucking wrist
Like,
would just go.
yeah, that was just like that looked fucking painful.
Yeah, when they showed the replay of him bracing himself, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I guess that impact just went up into his fucking. Anyway.
Yeah.
But so you have a good running game, and but honestly, this is what scares me about going into the Super Bowl for the Niners. They were playing kind of underachieved. Like Green Bay overachieved. Green Bay should not be like they shouldn't have went to the NFC fucking championship. They went on the back of Aaron Rodgers, and all these people that are like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers was terrible this season." Like, shut the fuck up. They're in a game there for the NFC championship. Like, what exactly? Like, what's the expectation there?
Right.
That's like saying Garoppolo had a bad season because he only threw 8 passes in the NFC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
No, they won the fucking football game. It's Scott Rasmussen saying Coleman will be able to play in the Super Bowl. So there you go. But the point of all that is you can't sleep on those things. You can't, especially Andy Reid's been there and lost. He is going to fucking pull out all the goddamn stops.
Right.
You're gonna see shit that KC's never done in this fucking game.
Oh, I'm sure, and I'm more scared of Mahomes than anything.
Mahomes
because
is
that motherfucker is insane.
He's a stud. He's a fucking stud.
He's probably the best athlete in the NFL right now. Like,
yeah, that one run like down the sideline where he basically faked everybody out like he was going out of bounds and got that was a touchdown run, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's that type of shit that it's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be a hell of a game.
yeah,
And unfortunately, I'm rooting for KC.
which is
I'm
fine.
rooting for Big Red.
Yeah,
Me and Ben.
yeah. Because by the way, my son Ben is a Chiefs fan. Has been pretty much his whole life.
Yeah, he's got Chiefs gear. I mean,
Yeah.
it was one of those things that during the season, like, man, the Chiefs. But
And-
yeah,
And it's going to be a party at the Roscom House. We're having a Super Bowl party. Obviously, you and Kathy are invited.
absolutely. We're looking forward to it.
And we've already got a bunch of people in the cantina asking for a halftime show for this year.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, we've done at least once, right? Once or twice.
Yeah, and well, it's Sunday too, so we could
Yeah.
probably do a normal episode before the Super Bowl,
Now that's an idea.
and then we could do a little extra halftime YouTube show.
Shit. There we go. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
All right, I like it.
So that'll be the plan.
Yes. All right. I have a gift for you. Actually, Kristen acquired this for you. She went to a thrift store recently. This is clean, but she saw this, and we definitely decided to get that for you. So there you go. Go ahead, open it up. We put it in a Ziploc, and again, we washed it after we got it home, so it's clean.
Ha! Look at that! Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yes.
It's a Star Wars Night Phillies shirt.
Yes. No idea when that was. Is there a date on it?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Philadelphia Phillies, the local baseball team, and their weird green mascot with a bunch of
It's
Star
called
Wars
the
stuff.
Philly Fanatic, and he is the best mascot in sports.
If you say so.
Well, I don't need to say so because everyone says so.
Yes.
And that is fucking awesome.
So I don't even know if it's your size. I didn't even look to see what size
It's
it
an
was.
XL, I think.
Okay, perfect. So there you go.
Yeah, XL. Perfect. Yeah, I will wear it. I will enjoy it. Thank you, Kristen.
She picked up one other thing at the thrift store. Something that's going to go great with some of our other decor. And it's pretty fitting for today's topic.
Nice.
We got a Clone Wars mask / helmet thing. This has not been washed, so don't put it on your face.
I will not.
all kinds of goodwill germs on it. But yeah, it's like a Clone Wars half mask. She got it for $2.99 minus our military discount.
That will go well on the wall.
Yes. So with the C-3PO and Kylo and Vader. So
excellent.
hello there,
General Kenobi.
So
I gotta
besides
work on my
that,
Grievous.
I haven't really been doing much else because I worked last weekend and work and stuff, and then just catching up on sleep and everything else. So I haven't really been doing much in the way of like any video games or any book reading or whatnot. But I am considering busting out the Old Republic again, just because I'm starting to kind of get that itch. There were still some storylines that I never finished, so I'd like to try and get in there. No hard date on that yet. No real commitment. Just something I'm pondering, something I'd like to do before the game gets shut down, which I'm sure is going to happen in the next couple of years.
Yeah, what's funny, like, I just opened it. I clicked it on my laptop here, and I'm like, oh, wonder what my password is for that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I stopped because I was subscribed for when we initially started talking about it, and I was on there a good amount, but it's been really difficult, just like with finishing up school and all the extra shit that I have going on in my life.
Yeah, with your schedule, I can understand.
And plus, it's one of those games, I've talked about it at length, where I'm a very, like, hey, I can be occupied for a half hour playing a first-person shooter, and then turn it off and go about my business. Yep. Old Republic, you're not getting the entire experience by doing something like that with the Old Republic.
No, you have to invest some time into it. So
now I'm disturbed. I don't know what my password is.
Oh, you could reset it. Anywho,
one-time password required.
Besides that,
son of a bitch.
For those of you who've been following me since my early podcast, I know there's at least a couple of folks out there from my old Magic the Gathering days. I'm actually going to the Magic Fest this weekend. It's up in the Meadowlands. My oldest son Rob and I are going up there for 2.5 days. So I got a hotel room booked up there.
Nice.
We're going to be hitting up the convention center and just playing Magic the Gathering for almost 3 days.
Wow.
Should be a lot of fun. And I haven't been up there since they built all the the new stadium and all that shit up there. So
yeah, I hear it's kind of a shit show.
Oh really?
Yeah, just with the I forget what they were saying about it, but it was one of those where the new, like, you would expect it to be better than it is. Yeah, but I have a healthy disdain for everything that's involving, like, the New York and northern New Jersey, the New York metropolitan area.
Yes.
That can basically eat all of the dicks. Are you squeezing your nipple? What the fuck were you just doing?
Scratching something on my stomach.
That didn't...
Had a weird itch right there.
Oh my god, do you see this shit?
Sorry. Anyway.
Fucking hell.
So yeah, that was my week. What about you? You wrote down notes.
I did write down notes, and I there's like this short. There's a short in my brain somewhere. I started school this week. Trying to get back into that. It's one of the reasons, and you kind of alluded to it in the beginning. Like, that's why we're doing Sundays, generally speaking, instead of the Monday nights. Even though we're doing it a Monday afternoon today, because Monday nights I have class. So, fuck. You know what I just realized? I don't have class tonight.
Because of the holiday?
Because of the holiday. You got to be fucking kidding me. Like, we're doing this early. I've been, like, racing around all day doing shit. And I just now realized,
live on the air,
that I don't have fucking class tonight.
That's fucking great. But now you're going to have the whole evening free.
I will. I'm going to play fucking video games is what I'm going to do. Because I spent the weekend, just prior to the weekend, getting homework done and getting set, because the wife and I went out and had a little overnight in the city.
Yeah.
Trying to do something like that once a month, just to fucking, get out of the house and spend some time together. But so my wife had never been to South Street.
Really?
Yeah. And all these years. I mean, she grew up in this area, right? She's never, the farthest she's lived from Runnymede, New Jersey was when we lived on base.
Wow.
So that's as far as she's gone. Anyway.
Which means she should know the Philly area really well.
Which she doesn't really. Like, until she started going out with me, I mean, we've been together for, tomorrow, like, is our anniversary of when we started dating in, like, 1995. God
damn.
So that's, like, what? 25 years? 25 years, something like that.
I was going to say 15.
That's a long fucking time. That's a long time. But so now that we're adulting, the kids are all in college, and we got, we're adulting, kind of.
Enjoying life.
Yeah. So went into the city. The weather was dog shit, but we went down to South Street, had a real nice meal, a place called Serpico. It was pricey. It was the portions were kind of small, but it was delicious.
1/4 portion.
Yeah, it was 1/4 portion for sure. So we ended up we were staying at the Hilton in Penn's Landing and had a salad before fucking, with our nightcap just because we had not yet had enough to eat.
Right.
But the point of that is, so like South Street in Philly used to be like a big haven for like kind of the alternative lifestyles. It was, if you wanted to, the best way to describe it is Spencer Gifts if it was a fucking like 5-6 block long street.
So the way it was always described to me was it was occupied by men who prefer the company of other men.
No, that's the neighborhood.
Okay.
That's it. It was never really like that. It's always been a hippie neighborhood.
Okay.
So I mean, there's old songs, there's old radio commercials that you would hear in Philly, like in the 80s, or where do all the hippies meet? South Street, right? That it was a thing. So,
wow.
When I was a kid going through high school and everything else, we'd go to South Street, and if like you wanted to get piercings or tattoos or they had comic book stores, sex shops, like it was Spencer Gifts expanded into a street.
Nice.
And on the weekend, like we were there on a Saturday night and the weather wasn't great, but the weekends, the place would be fucking packed. It'd be fucking packed. I mean, there would be people everywhere going in and out of bars and restaurants, stuff like that.
So you're referring to it in the past tense with all of this. So does that mean it's not like that
It's not like that anymore. Even talking to the Lyft driver that we had coming back, he's like, yeah, this is, for over the years, it's not like it used to be. Like there's more people now in the northern Philadelphia area, like Northern Liberties, Fishtown, like they gentrified that whole area. So now it's like they got bars and restaurants and places to hang out up there. So they're not really coming to South Street to hang out.
Oh, okay.
So it was interesting to see it being so different. It still had South Street was where I first developed my real fucking healthy disdain for homeless people. Because it used to be.
Don't go to California then.
Oh, I'd be killing bitches, like free for all. It'd be a fucking free for all because it just anyway.
Oh yeah, you can't swing a fist without hitting a homeless person.
Yeah,
out there.
fuck those fuckers. 18-year-old Dave that may have had some compassion for these people, right? South Street ruined it. Any compassion I was going to have for the homeless was ruined when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And it was like an encounter with a fucking homeless person that you gave money to and got pissed off that it wasn't enough. Like who the what? Like, yeah, fuck you, the entire bin of human waste that is homeless. Fuck you. Anyway, yeah, it started there. So
wow.
I was not
We're
super.
getting deep here today.
Yeah, deep. Fuck. But it was. I really didn't. I wasn't that excited to go back to South Street, but I figured, whatever. Kathy's never seen it, and we did. We had a nice meal. And we wandered around. We walked into a poetry reading. Again, remember I said hippies.
Yeah.
Lots of hippies.
Sure.
So walked into this bookstore. Like, oh look, on the front, it seemed like it was going to be my kind of store, right? Because right on the front of it, it said, "Don't be an asshole. Everyone works here is a volunteer." Like it says, "Don't be an asshole" right on the door. Fuck it, let's go in. So we go in, and
says the guy who just 30 seconds ago said,
"Fuck
homeless people."
Fuck homeless people. They weren't homeless; they were volunteers. See, but they were doing something with themselves. They didn't smell.
I'm more referring to the "don't be an asshole" thing.
Oh, that's it's not in my character to not be an asshole.
Anyway, carry on.
So we go in there and we're just kind of looking around. The place is packed, and Kathy asks, like, "Hey, what's going on?" And somebody's like, "Oh, it's a poetry reading." So we were like kind of close to the door, but we like walked in right at the point when it would have been really awkward to leave.
Right.
So we stood there for one of the poetry readings. It was interesting. It was, but like I'm looking around at the book titles, and it's like peace-mongering and like all this anti-war propaganda and all this other shit. I'm like, yeah, we should go. So we get out of there, and we went to a comic book store. Now I had the fucking business cards and other thing for his comic book store. Really cool little comic book store. The guy who was working there used to do a pop culture podcast like 10 years ago. Him
Oh,
and
yeah?
this guy, Chris, and that's what I was looking for. Anyway, this guy Chris has a Star Wars podcast where they just talk about comics. It's like him and another guy. All they do
Really?
is talk about comics. And I grabbed the business card and I can't believe I forgot it. You know what? I might have taken a picture of it.
Did you did you talk to them about it?
Well, I
or-
talked. You know, Kathy, of course, is our marketing VP.
Yep.
And so she's the one who's initiated the conversation. Like,
Mhm.
I would have been perfectly happy to look at the comic book titles and fucking go on with my life.
Right.
She starts talking to this guy, and I'm not one to willingly initiate conversations. That's what Kathy's really good at. She doesn't give a shit who she's talking to.
Yeah.
Just fucking talking. So, okay, I got it. I took a picture of it. God,
Sweet.
I is smart. So the podcast is called Broaxium. www.broaxium.com. And it's a time of divide in the fandom. In the midst of battle, two bros just want to talk Star Wars comics.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I was going to reach out to him on social media, but I was out with my wife, so I decided to not be on my phone quite so much.
All right.
That's the front of the card. What's really neat about this, and I think this is worth, there is a positive Star Wars community called the Alliance. The Alliance of Star Wars Fanatics. So it's TAOSWF.com. A safe place for respectful discussion. And it's interesting because I'm curious to see what actually the goings on are for this. And I'm going to reach out to them. But apparently there's a community out there for people to talk about Star Wars and not get shit on. So
Okay.
it sounds really
It sounds interesting. I will reserve judgment for later.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's one of those things where, hey, if there's fans out there that would be interested in listening to us, then yeah. In fact, I'll probably click just to the Alliance of Star Wars Fanatics, and which we fall right in that category.
Yes.
Check this out. This was on the wall there.
Nice.
It is a picture of Lando with Leia in a Colt 45 malt liquor. It's a dynamite taste.
That's good.
I don't know if you could see it on the screen, but
Yeah, it's a little fuzzy.
yeah, so Leia boobs hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, cool guy to talk to. He apparently the one guy, Chris, was the guy he did with the podcast with. So the guy's been podcasting for a minute.
Yeah.
And he said his thing was he just wanted to focus on like there's so much in the Star Wars world to talk about. He just wanted to like focus on the one thing.
Which is smart.
And the dude works in a comic store, so
Yeah.
boom.
And there's plenty of Star Wars comic content out there
Yeah, oh god,
to
yeah.
cover. So
They had some interesting stuff on the shelf. One-off titles, like a Vader one. There was a couple of Rey ones that I hadn't seen, but
yeah.
it's overwhelming. The comic stuff. I mean, shit, the boxes of them that we have here of the new shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking overwhelming. It
'Cause,
really
yeah,
is.
We've barely talked about the fact that, we were doing the main Star Wars series for a while until that got a little bit preposterous. That one eventually ended, and now they've got a new Star Wars series that's taking place between Empire and Jedi. And tons of stuff to digest if we ever had the time and desire to do that. But maybe we'll just leave it to these guys and cover other stuff.
Yeah. So I'm gonna reach out to them via social media, and then see what's up.
Yeah.
So what else did I
Maybe
have?
See about a collaboration.
Oh. So I think everyone is in agreement. There's very few people that can say that John Williams isn't the best human being, an absolute fucking genius.
Yeah.
The Mozart of our fucking generation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I covet everything that he does. Like
Yeah.
we were in a record store on South Street, and I'm like looking for fucking John Williams albums just to
Nice.
be like, it may be that thing. Like if you had a Mozart or a Beethoven fucking LP
Yeah.
or pressing or something, be like, this is it. This is the music. This is
Yeah.
going to be replicated for generations.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick the other day finds this fucking article.
Nick, aka Big Swede, last week's in studio guest.
Right. Finds this fucking article.
Mm-hmm.
And the Washington Post published an article that's claiming Star Wars and John Williams' score reproduces harmful prejudices in pop culture. So basically, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but basically they're saying because John Williams like writes the bad guys in like like Asians or Middle Eastern ways, so tonally it sounds like that. So it establishes these prejudices against those people. This guy, his name is Jeffrey C.J. Chen, and Star Wars is shot with orientalizing stereotypes, patronizing tropes that represent an imagined East or the Orient as inferior to the rational, heroic West.
Where is he getting this?
This is why the internet will be the downfall of this civilization.
Yeah.
That the access to having information and for fucking just absolute window-licking retards like this to have even a say in the Washington fucking Post, not in some like, comics.com, not in we fucking broke this or whatever
we got this covered.
Yeah, whatever the fucking fuckface site is. This guy decides that, oh, well, you know what? The most pure thing, a genius in our time, I have to figure out a way to fucking bring this guy down. Mm-hmm. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to write an article that basically spells out how John Williams' score orientalizing stereotypes.
Like, what does that even mean?
One could imagine what it means, but it's one of those. It's such a reach that you really wonder why. What is the modus operandi of doing something like this? Is it to so even if Star Wars was doing something good, but the John Williams score villainized like Oriental culture, which is complete horseshit, right? But let's just say that he did. So does that mean all of the good that Star Wars does now goes completely by the wayside?
Right.
That's the precedence. That's where we are in our society, is that when I found something bad, like that's obviously makes all of it bad. Like and so much so to the point where you get franchises that are like, well, we're removing sponsorships but because some people found this was offensive. Like this shit, a fucking classical score.
Yeah. By a guy who's been doing this for fucking 40 years.
And for
or
things
more.
outside of this fucking franchise.
Yeah.
Does that mean E.T. was a fucking if you listen to John Williams' entire catalog, there are like Big Swede had fucking done that stitch for between E.T. and
a very distinguished style. Like it is, you can tell it's John Williams when you listen to it.
Exactly.
He has a style.
Exactly. And to say it just applying to Star Wars and not also applying it to Indiana Jones and not applying it, is it not work for Indiana Jones because the Nazis are bad guys and they're supposed to be bad guys? Yeah. He's writing the same fucking music. Yeah. He's writing it with the same inclination that he does with all of his fucking score. And to just make such a reach like this and to have it posted in the Washington Post as what? As okay, well, we're being, balanced and we're publicizing this. At some point, some fucking copy editor's got to go like, yeah, this is, why don't you go with the New York Times with this bullshit?
Right.
But
well, I mean, they all lean one way or the other. I mean, isn't the Washington Post the ones that actually broke the Nixon story? Actually, back in the fucking day when they used to be a legitimate news site or a newspaper.
What the fuck is a legitimate news site anymore?
There isn't one.
Exactly.
That's the problem. Like, every single source of news, I hate to get political on the show, but every single news source has some sort of political skewing one way or the other.
It's a bias. Everything, there's a bias that's applied to everything because they have to be portrayed. They see themselves as having to be portrayed as either appealing to the left, appealing to the right. The getting in the middle and standing in the middle so you can see both sides is it's a fucking unicorn in this day and age. But this John Williams shit. Again, this isn't really about politics. This is just about using social media to legitimately publicize something that I want to sit down with this person and say, I want you to explain to me how this is actually reproducing harmful prejudices in pop culture.
Yeah,
Please,
it makes
because
0 sense.
because your art degree is in probably music science or something like that, and this is some analysis that you've done. Cool. Look, musicians and analyzing music and doing all those things, those degrees, they have a place in this world.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me how, like, show me the effect. Where's the cause and effect here? Is it really that? Is there an effect? Are people that are watching Star Wars suddenly have an Oriental prejudice?
Right.
Show that to me. Yeah. Show me empirical fucking data.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a fucking bachelor's degree from any school in the fucking country, aside from maybe like the Air Force Academy,
mm-hmm.
It's a way to just kind of take a jab at the Air Force Academy, but they probably have it too. You have to fucking go out there and do no shit research. You have a statistics class. You have a research, a data analysis class, something where you actually have to go out, come up with a theorem, and validate the fucking course. It's a 200 level course in almost every degree program ever.
Mm-hmm.
Do this. Apply that. Apply your fucking intelligence and knowledge to actually gaining empirical fucking data to state that this is why I can make this statement.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just a fucking opinion, and while you may be entitled to it, you can stick it squarely up your fucking ass because this man, John Williams, to put something out there that would besmirch his name is doing it just for the sensationalism of it.
Mm-hmm.
It is a high profile person that if he can make a name for himself, Jack Wagon Chen or whatever the fuck his name is, that he can fucking ride this and get his fucking 15 minutes of fame out of it. And for that, he needs to fucking fall into an age tree and die. Because fuck him, fuck this fucking planet that he thinks he lives on.
Yeah.
And honestly, get in your Prius and go do something else.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. And it's like I said, it's probably just some big sensationalized thing. I bet he doesn't even actually believe this. I bet he's just doing this for the attention, which is really most people that post about politics online, they're doing it for attention.
See what? I disagree with that. I'm willing to bet that he believes this with his entirety of his fucking being.
You think so?
And most of these people like that have these hard positions on things, right? I think back about it. I'd like to think I've matured a little bit since we've done our Last Jedi conversation where I was so fucking disappointed in that movie. So disappointed. Because those expectations. I was so fucking disappointed that I was so ready to just absolutely flush this piece of shit down the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
But thank God I went and saw it the next day with a more open mind and was able to still enjoy the fucking movie.
Mm.
With shit like this, they have this hard fucking opinion that this is the worst thing ever and that their opinion is going to change the fucking world. Because what have we been telling kids? Like, what were we told? Like, oh, you can change the world or some fucking bullshit, right? you sit in some fucking world history class and you listen to these individuals that start these things. And that's awesome. It's great. But those were in times when you didn't have this globalization that we have now and the influence. So it's just this thing in particular, to come back to just the John Williams thing.
Yeah.
Please. I would love to meet this guy. I would love to have him sit down, show me the empirical evidence that proves this theorem. And that this is not just an op-ed and not a grab for 15 minutes of fame. Show it to me. I'm obviously passionate about John Williams, but I can never in my life, I've listened to thousands of hours of his fucking score. Yeah. Thousands of hours.
We've watched these movies probably hundreds of times.
Easily.
All of the Star Wars movies. I don't think I have any Asian bias after these hundreds of times watching the fucking movie. Never
once. Even knowing this information and re-listen to it. I listened to fucking 2 soundtracks today while I was fucking working in the lodge. Mm-hmm. Listened to 2 whole soundtracks at full fucking throat. And not once did I think, well, that's obviously I don't even, and I'm a relatively eclectic guy as far as music taste. I like Gershwin and Beethoven. I could tell you the difference between Tchaikovsky and fucking Mozart. There's nothing in this that makes any sense at all. And it doesn't. And yes, I implore you. And with this and everything and fuck else, do your own research.
Yeah.
Do your own research. Don't let something like this go to sway your opinion.
And it's kind of like what you were saying too. Like, why would you besmirch the name of this guy who's probably never fucking heard a fly in his entire life? All he's done is just made brilliant music, and you're gonna try to take this guy down for what?
I'd love to go back and look at, Mozart was probably a philanderer or some shit like that. Like go back and look at these people that we've idolized over the years as changing the world, and look at what they really are. Like if you're trying to get down to like some level with these people where you're trying to, well, this is why this person was this way, and now everything they've done that was good is now bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, sure. Like this is how, like if you're talking about like, well, you shouldn't bully, everyone should have equal footing and everything else. Like while you're standing on top of a hill fucking screaming at people down underneath you that you need to be more equal, where are you?
Yeah.
Are you having this conversation with those people? Or are you hollering it as loud as so everyone else can hear you, meanwhile not making and affecting any change?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Use social media for good. Use it to affect change. Do things like contribute to the Australian wildfires and help them out. Contribute to world hunger. Put your money where your mouth is and shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah.
We don't fucking care. And for God's sakes, if you're going to say something negative about John Williams, you better fucking come correct.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, then. Well, I would say it's time to get to our main topic, but I think we have a little bit of business to take care of before then.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah. I like what you did there.
Hey!
So, all right. Moving on. Anything else on your week before we...
I don't think
wrap this
so.
up? All right.
I'd really... It's been busy, but...
All right. So then we're going to take a quick break and get to our main topic after this word... from our sponsors.
Stupid.
Don't worry.
Anyway, can you fucking believe it? Like John Williams. Of all the fucking things. Urgh. Bashing. Keep things PG-13. Blah, blah, blah. I'm logging into this Alliance of Star Wars Fanatics. There's 27,000 members in there. So we'll see. Put in for it. The group was created in 2015. That's neat. And my request was approved. Cool. Yeah, so more to follow. I said, I'm certainly not about bashing anything Star Wars. I mean, obviously, having an opinion that may stray one way to the other, but it's interesting. Let me check this Broaxium thing.
Broaxium?
Broaxium.
Why does that sound familiar?
This is what I just was talking about with the guy whose thing I picked up.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking of like an actual component from Star Wars.
It looks like they don't. No, more to follow on this, but we'll yes, I went to like this page. I better pee now.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Fuck, I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
3:37.
I don't have fucking class tonight.
It's good shit. Sorry, I had to check something on my phone. Yearbooks again? Shit never ends. My son's school is emailing me about yearbooks. They're like, don't let Robert get left out. Buy his yearbook today. You can do it in four easy payments of $59.99.
What are you getting for $59.99?
Rob's yearbook. Just got an email from his school.
What year is he?
Junior.
That's fucking scary.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? It's just terrifying sometimes.
You're telling me. Anyway, we ready to resume?
Just look at that. New Kylo comic is great.
Yeah, that's one thing that I did kind of want to read because it's supposed to, talk about Ben's fall to the dark side and all that, but I don't want to pay, $4 an issue for it.
Yeah.
And then be disappointed, so.
I think we really need to, put a pin in, was it like a 6-month lag? For
6 to 9 months, yeah.
So, unless there's something that I can imagine being super relevant, I think we could wait 6 months for some of that content.
Yeah, maybe this late summer kind of all right, resub to Marvel Unlimited for a couple of months and then plow through a lot of this shit because there's no new movies coming out, so we got time to get caught up on all this backlog of shit.
Yeah, and there's you have podcasts like the Bro Axiom podcast that's only talking about the comics. So maybe, we can, there's definitely, it looks like they do it maybe once a month. Tough to tell.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through their website here. So I don't know what exactly they got going on, but I will say that I think it'd be worth it. So long as we can do it through Marvel Unlimited.
Right. No, I agree.
Where the juice is worth the squeeze on that.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
For sure.
All right.
Let's
ready to roll?
Get it back on.
All right. 30 seconds of silence. And we're back. So, Clone Wars. We've been talking about this as the whole podcast has progressed. We went through the first 2 seasons of the Clone Wars. Did not go as well as we had anticipated. There were so many just shit episodes in those first 2 seasons where it was really hard to try to stay with it and try to plow through the rest of the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it fell off. We finished season 2, didn't really get back to season 3. So now as we're getting ready for season 7, which is starting on Disney Plus next month, February 17th, we're going to go through these 12 essential storylines in the Clone Wars leading up to it. So I did the math. We've got 4 episodes between now and the debut of the next season, which I think we can probably get through most of these storylines before then.
I think so.
That is the plan from here. And we're just going to hop right into it. So the first ones that were recommended that weren't in the first 2 seasons. Now, there were a couple of storylines that we already covered in the first couple of seasons of the series, so we're not even going to touch on those. The first one that we hadn't covered was this single episode from season 3 called ARC Troopers. This is season 3, episode 2, and this is about General Grievous and Ventress attacking the clone facilities on Kamino. This is sort of a 2-front attack in the air, which is kind of a decoy for a underwater assault, or what begins underwater and then eventually
some Navy SEAL shit.
Yeah, so it I think it was a great standalone episode. I've got a bunch of notes. Do you want
so you watch it through Netflix?
No, Disney Plus.
Okay. So I guess I'll taking a second that way it'll cut out that timing.
That's good.
The scene I saw these episodes with Nick at work, like during lunchtime, of course.
Right.
And it was the Blu-ray. So he had the
okay.
Blu-rays, and we had the physical Blu-rays when we were watching.
Which
it all
I
the time.
have too, but I just now that we have Disney Plus, it's just so convenient to.
So there's a thing in there about. This is one of the episodes that kind of picked me off as being like, wow, this is where I like Ventress as a character. I mean, obviously I'm more dark side leaning,
Of course.
but Ventress is doing some fucking badass shit here.
Mm-hmm.
So in Disney Plus, does it show her kissing the ARC Trooper?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
even on Disney
I wrote
Plus,
a note about that. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, that was some cold-blooded shit.
That
man.
was cold-blooded. And so if you look in Wikipedia, it talks about how, I guess, the original release on Disney XD, or was it Disney XD or Cartoon Network? Cartoon Network, that they didn't show that.
Oh,
They cut that out.
really?
Yeah, because it was like the first time they had actually censored an episode because of
shit.
how fucking cold-blooded that shit was.
Yeah.
So...
Oh yeah, no, I wrote a note about that. I watched it. I'm like, wow, that was harsh.
It's funny too because like Ventress is she's just one of those like sexy things going on all the time anyway.
Despite the bald head, she's got a lot of sexuality to her.
She
like
does.
the way she moves, the way she talks.
Flirts with Obi-Wan.
Well, fucking with Grievous, there was some sexual tension going on with him because when they kind of met up after they had done their two-prong attack, they met up when they were actually on the cloning facilities. And they're having this kind of back and forth, and she's like, "I'm gonna go fucking hit the DNA chamber." And Grievous is like, "Do you want me to send some troops?" And she kind of walks over to him, kind of strokes his little mask thing, and she's like, "You have nothing that I want." And to me, that's an obvious referral to the fact that he has no dick.
Yep.
You know, that he's all like,
or lack thereof.
Right. And I'm like, wow, that was.
Where's our fucking lightsabers?
Where did they go? That is a good question. Did we move them somewhere? Oh, they're there.
Yeah, Vader's all fucking knocked back. Michigan Vader's all fucking knocked backwards as he should be.
We were doing something last week, and we had to
That's
move
probably
some
because we had a guest, but anyway, Ventress.
shit. So yeah, so she is like oozing sexuality. Like there was later on when we get to the Nightsisters trilogy, there were some scenes where she was walking from a ship over to like her fucking mother, and the camera shot was almost from underneath, and you could see like the side of her fucking ass cheek as her hips are swaying as she's walking. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, they had fun drawing her.
They
I
did.
guarantee you they did.
Yeah. So anyway,
Excuse me.
do you want me to just start plowing through my notes a little bit?
Yeah, go through your notes, and then I had saw this a few months ago, and without the intent of covering it, so I didn't have a chance to rewatch it.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that your notes jog some memory items.
Okay.
I know the big one was like her just being
Yeah.
swing.
And I'm sure I asked this when we were doing seasons 1 and 2 of the Clone Wars, but is the Grievous voice, is it the same guy who voiced him in Revenge of the Sith? Because it sounds exactly like him.
It does sound exactly like him.
Yeah, so if it's not
know.
the same guy who did the voice of Revenge of the Sith, then he does a really good job of mimicking that voice. But I want to say it's the same guy. That was one of my notes here. So yeah, they do this two-prong attack on Kamino where they're going for the clone facilities, and Ventress is underwater. She's like in her own little fucking underwater pod. And it was actually very clever the way they did this, because as the Republic was defending against these massive ships that were coming into Kamino, they were shooting pieces off, or so they thought. These pieces, the debris from the fucking Separatist ships, was actually falling into the water, and it was pieces of these underwater craft that they then fucking put together.
It took them a minute to figure it the fuck out. Like, wait a minute, it's like this falling apart awful easy.
Yeah, like, and that was the whole thing. It's like Obi-Wan's like, this is too easy, and it took him a long time to finally come to that.
Wait a minute.
Hang on a second. Oh my god. Sidebar. So I cannot watch Clone Wars anymore without thinking about a certain meme that I saw months ago. I think I even reposted this in the Sidebar Cantina. It's a meme of it's General Grievous sitting next to a fucking droid, battle droid. And the droid goes, "Sir, we're detecting high levels of sass." And Grievous goes, "Kenobi!" And I always think about that every time I watch the Clone Wars now. It's pretty funny. Anyway.
Oh, and along that sidebar, So I get my memes through iFunny, right? I had the iFunny app.
Yep.
I want to say 90% of them are Star Wars related.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so many of them, and not just like Rise of Skywalker shit. I mean, I'm talking like Clone Wars, all throughout.
Oh yeah.
It's really amazing for something like, oh wow, Star Wars fandom is dying, and the people that are making the content for the nerds that are kind of sitting back and putting a funny meme together and putting it out there, like they're fucking funny.
Oh yeah.
And it's just been so. It's just nice to actually see something that's humorous, on the internet as opposed to the usual bullshit as referenced earlier.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's just odd noticing like so many memes right now are Star Wars based.
Right.
A lot of Anakin ones too.
Oh yeah, yeah, and there's tons of like prequels, especially Revenge of the Sith. For some reason, Revenge of the Sith has just a billion fucking memes associated with it. But we digress. So we're not introduced to him because he was introduced in earlier episodes. The 99 clone, the fucking decrepit, like he was a fucked up clone. Like
Right.
he didn't quite make it all the way through the process, I guess. Like
it can't be 100% solution, right? There's got to be some of those that are just like turn into boogers that it just gotta liquefy into the matrix and feed into the rest of the clones.
Right, but in this case, they just made him the fucking janitor, basically, at the clone facilities. But everybody liked him, and I guess he's
Quasimodo, like the Quasimodo version.
Yeah, but I guess he's really liked amongst like the fans who love the Clone Wars. Yeah, he was really liked, but he's not gonna be liked for very much longer. But anyway,
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, he's introduced early on in this. We get a shot of the Admiral, the voice guy, the same guy who does the fucking narration.
Yes, with absolutely no change of inflection.
Yes!
I'm going to be the same guy that stands on the deck of as an admiral.
Yeah,
Go.
He talks the exact same way as the fucking narrator at the beginning of every show. Change your voice a little bit.
Yeah, just at least just a little bit.
Unless I guess we're just to assume that it's the Admiral who's doing the voiceover. So it's just that character who's doing the voices.
Hang on, I think in the Wikipedia it has the Separatist attack. After the destruction of the Republic outpost in the Rishi Moon, General Grievous and the Shaji Ventures plan an attack on the planet Kamino, home of the cloning factories. And then That's literally good. The next scene, he goes right into the same fucking voice. All right.
So answer a question for me, because after Obi-Wan catches on to their little scheme, goes underwater to investigate, some droids hop on his little fucking submarine. He's got to eject. After he ejects and as he's still swimming, he busts out his lightsaber and cuts them down underwater.
Sure.
Are lightsabers supposed to work underwater?
It's plasma, right? Isn't it supposed to be like plasma?
I guess,
it's
but
energy.
it's also like a fucking it's a little gadget. It's
listen,
like a little...
you're also that's like saying the snow puts out a lightsaber. When Kylo Ren and listen,
just let it go.
Just let it go.
All right, fine, fair enough.
Look, if I can let it go, you can let it go.
All right.
But I would think that because you have plasma welding and shit like that you do underwater.
I do.
Well, it exists. it's a thing in our reality.
All right. Fair enough. Anyway,
suspension of disbelief, Jason.
All right. Yeah, you're right. This was one of those things that really just stuck out. It's like, really, we're gonna do that?
Well, now they've canonized it. So now it's like, okay, we're gonna do this.
Yeah, and that's
like it or not. Now it's a thing.
Yeah, Clone Wars is canon. It has been stated by Disney that Clone Wars is canon. So, we get something interesting throughout the course of this because it's a big battle, right? They fucking crash into the fucking cloning facilities and whatnot, and you got the clones fighting the droids.
Very Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
It made me think about that because I'm playing through the Force Unleashed again, and it's like, man, I feel like this has happened. Like, oh shit, it's happened on the fucking. Now it's on Clone Wars. It happens on Force Unleashed, and then you're also playing it in fucking Star Wars Battlefront.
Yep.
So. Yeah, all kinds of connections here to Kamino.
I know, which is really awesome, actually. But you have different eras of clone troopers in there because, for the most part, throughout the Clone Wars series, it's mostly been these guys, the basic clone trooper, the originals from Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas inside of this facility, you see some of them with the more modernized Revenge of the Sith looking clone trooper helmets.
Right.
And later on, we get a fucking Republic Commando group as well, which was fucking awesome. They were. Oh no, wait, that's in another episode.
That's down, not in this episode.
Yeah, that's in the. Sorry, that's in
But
the
it's
Nightsisters trilogy. I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyway, I think it's really cool that we're actually seeing different eras of clone trooper fucking helmets now, and I wonder if they're going to ever explain like why the transition happened from this style to everybody being in the newer style that was closer to the stormtrooper helmets.
Right.
So, just something to keep an eye out. Hopefully they mention that. So, all right, my next note was Ventress kiss. That's fucked up because yeah, she's fighting a fucking clone trooper. She gets the lightsaber out, just pops him like. Guts the guy with her fucking lightsaber and then fucking kisses him right before he dies. I'm like, wow, that's some cold-blooded shit.
Yeah, she's got. It's great. I think it's a great way to portray a Star Wars character, like somebody who is embodiment of the dark side, where passion is everything, and she's using that passion in a particular way.
Yeah, mostly to fuck with people, but hey,
whatever
works, man.
If you're gonna go.
We get to see Shak Ti in action. She's the older Togruta, the one who looks like the same species as fucking Ahsoka, who, by the way, didn't see at all in any of these episodes that we watched today, which maybe there's a theme there. But
well, I think you have to remember what happened at the end of, like, didn't she fuck up something at the end of season 2? And
I think it was towards the beginning of season 2 where she got like sent to the library. You're gonna go fucking watch over the sacred Jedi texts for this season. So anyway, I forgot what happened at the end of season 2. Honestly, I have to go back and watch.
Yeah. But we won't.
Yeah, and then throughout the course of this, we get some really cool like 3 front battles. We get Anakin versus Ventress in a lightsaber duel. We get fucking Obi-Wan against Grievous, and then we've got all the fucking clones against all the fucking droids. It was this really cool sequence where it was going in between all of these battles. I think they're getting better at this point in the series with the lightsaber battles. It's still the animation style it's very jerky, the way they do it, but that's intentional. It's weird to get used to, but it was still exciting. Like the whole episode was just this exciting, like, fast-paced, fucking action-packed episode, which I can understand why they put it on here.
It was a good episode.
Yeah. And of course, 99 dies. He's trying to protect all of the fucking clones at the facility.
Yeah, he's doing Operation Human Shield.
Yeah, and he gets shot in the back a couple of times, and he's dead now. So, sorry.
Boom, 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 boom.
We were introduced to these other 2 characters, Echo and Fives, in the first episode of this season, and they are on the clone facility defending it. And by the end of it, Rex and Cody promote them to fucking ARC troopers, which is. I had the notes on that, but I lost them. It's the ARC trooper stands for a certain kind of trooper, assault recon, something. But yeah, they got promoted, so hooray!
Something son.
But by the end of this, the clone facility is completely fucked. Like they went in there, they smashed the shit. Like the big room with all the little fucking pods with all the fucking fetuses and shit. They smashed the shit out of that. There's fucking pods falling over. It's probably fucking dead fetuses all over the fucking floor.
Yeah. Again, thinking about it in The Force Unleashed 2, when you're getting ready and you're fighting Vader, like right towards the end of the game, and you're on Kamino and you're jumping around all these fucking clones, and some of them are like popping out of there's like zombie fucking clones of Starkiller. And you can't, in my brain sometimes it just doesn't differentiate between the 2 things. It's like, oh my God. Like it really, I think I mentioned this the last time, but why the fuck did Fallen Order have to, the further away I get from Fallen Order, the more I think it was not a good game. Especially go back and replay Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
And realize that the inferiority of the fucking Fallen Order game, which, by the by, further fucking sidebar, there is some talk on the internet about a potential sequel
to Fallen
Order.
I mean, I guess they left the characters alive, so
yeah, and there's some standalone comics too of what's her nuts, bug-eyed broad.
I forgot her name.
Me too, but. Anyway, that would be interesting, But if you're going to use the same gaming engine and everything else and the same character, it just Force Unleashed was killed too soon.
Yeah.
Died well ahead of its time. It would have benefited greatly from having a platform like the Xbox One to make it that much better, as opposed to just being a 360 platform.
Yeah. Did you have you finished Force Unleashed 2 yet? Okay. It's got an interesting ending.
I'm almost done.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to let us know when you do finish. So, moving on, we're now jumping 10 episodes ahead in season 3. So now we're doing the Nightsisters trilogy, which starts on episode 12 of season 3. Nightsisters, all one word, mind you.
Right.
Not Night Space Sisters. Nightsisters. Why? I don't know. So it starts off with
Star Wars. That's
yes, it starts off with an attack on the Solus system. Dooku sent Ventress to fucking do something. I don't even remember. It was really not that important. But after the battle started, Palpatine, or I'm sorry, Darth Sidious, contacts Dooku and is like, "Your apprentice is too powerful. You have to end her." And Dooku's like, "Oh, she's my best assassin," and Palpatine basically accuses him of like, "Are you trying to like fuck me here? Are you training your apprentice so you guys can kill me? Is that what's up?" And then Dooku's like, no. And he's like, all right, then kill her. And Dooku, for what he believes, he complies.
Well, and he complies with the act of attempting to kill her.
Right.
But I think he knows that the attempt failed. Like, she disappeared, which was good enough for him. But I think he knows that she was still alive.
Okay. Like, he didn't pursue it very much.
Exactly.
After that. He's just like, okay, we're good to go.
Do you get the impression in this episode that, I mean, we have the benefit of having read the Dooku book.
Yeah.
Whose title is escaping me right now.
Jedi Lost.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Jedi Lost gives us some real insight into Dooku and like why he ends up turning to the dark side, but doesn't necessarily, like, as they alluded to in the prequels, where he was not a Jedi, but he's not necessarily a Sith.
Right.
Although he uses Force lightning and everything else, they just, I get the impression that Dooku is not willing to go full bore into what Sidious is doing. Like, he's really only in it for what's going to be good for him.
Sure.
And right now, this alliance is still good for him. But
right.
I think Dooku knows at the end that this is not.
Oh yeah, because I mean, later on
what he's bargaining for
in this trilogy, we get a better sense of that. But yeah, so we get another series where it's Anakin and Obi-Wan against Ventress. They're having a pretty cool lightsaber battle, but
flirting.
Yeah, they get the best of her until like she just gets frustrated, and then she just fucking force chokes both of them. And I'm like, why didn't you start with that? You know?
Well, because she's flirting and she's playing with him. That's her thing. It's what she does. And then it's like, oh fuck these. I'm gonna have to really fucking fight these guys, or I'm just gonna grab them by their fucking necks.
Yeah. So they destroy the ship that she and Anakin and Obi-Wan are on. Everybody thinks, oh, they're all eliminated. We're good to go. Let's go home. She escapes. Anakin and Obi-Wan escape, obviously. And she gets on a fucking ship that's, it's like a bunch of pirates that pick her up. And she fucking chokes the shit out of them and heads to Dathomir.
Now she's the Pirate King.
Yes.
It's like an Archer episode.
Right. So, as we know, Dathomir, rich history, home of the Zabrix and also the Nightsisters. So they get there. She meets up with Mother Talzin, and as soon as they pull up, I immediately recognize the setting, only because not even from Rebels, which they go to Dathomir a little bit in Rebels, but I'm thinking more from Jedi Fallen Order, because you go to Dathomir early on in that game, and the setting with the temples and everything, they did a really good job in Fallen Order of recreating what was in the Clone Wars. Like, it was very familiar territory. What's up, Big Lovin'? And
what I miss, me ranting about fucking idiots on social media.
Yes. What else is new? So, yeah, she gets back. She's all fucked up from the fight and everything else. So she kind of like limps in, and they take her and they go through this whole fucking like seance ritual thing where they're kind of like bringing her back to life. And during this, we start getting some backstory on her life, which I don't think we knew any of this beforehand.
No, because the book hadn't been out yet, where it kind of talks about how.
Yeah, because the book came out after the whole series was done.
Right.
So yeah, so it shows her being a fucking infant taken from Dathomir for whatever purposes. They didn't really explain that too much, like why this fucking pervert wanted the baby girl, but he like I want to say it's like slavery, like she was given to him for slavery, because later on when she's like a fucking toddler, he gets killed and she calls him master, and he wasn't like a fucking force user or anything, so the only master I can think of is like a slavery type of situation.
Yeah, it's tough for me to remember because we know in the book that ultimately she gets saved by.
Yeah, because right after that guy dies,
Jedi.
she gets saved by a Jedi.
Right.
And then he starts training her and using the Force. But it doesn't seem like he's actually going through the Council or she's actually going through official Jedi training. It looks like they're just kind of like she's his side project kind of thing. And then, of course, she's a fucking like goth-looking teenager in these scenes when she's doing some Jedi training. She's actually got hair, but it's like half of her head shaved, the other half in like a slick back. Looks like she hasn't washed it in like 3 months, you know?
It's interesting that that's what you get from what the artist rendering is, but okay.
Yeah. But she looks like a female Skrillex, you know? That's kind of what I envision when I see that. And her master was killed, and then at some point she was picked up by Dooku, and he's like, I will show you the ways of the dark side. So this was after he already turned. He found her. But these were all done through like some very quick flashbacks as they were like trying to resurrect her or something.
You're gonna have a montage.
Yes, exactly.
A motherfucking montage.
This was the point in my notes where I mentioned just how good the CG in this series has gotten up to this point, because it was pretty crude in the early episodes, but by this point in season 3 towards the end, man, it looks good. It looks really good.
Yeah, I'll give them that.
Despite,
and plus you get used to it too, and I think that
could be part of it.
That's a big part of it, and I think like Resistance, if we were watching it consistently, we would probably get used to the animation.
See, I never had an issue with the Resistance animation, so
it was different. It was different to the point of like, but that and the fact that who has time? It was time to watch everything.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, and that's the funny thing. Sidebar. Every single time somebody finds out that I do a Star Wars podcast, they're like, well, aren't you going to run out of ideas eventually? It's like, no, never.
We will never run out.
Yeah.
Of content.
Yeah.
If we repeat ourselves, it's because we want to, not because we have to.
Mm-hmm. And even if today Disney stopped producing Star Wars content, we have enough of a fucking backlog to cover 2 more years of this fucking podcast.
There's a pile, like 2 Jasons high over here of fucking, well, it's 2 piles. But still, it's Jason height of materials that we have not covered.
Right.
Like almost everything that's in this pile has not been covered.
Mm-hmm.
Legends material and everything else. So, God, there's so much.
Yeah, we will never run out of content.
Especially, we're skipping over shit because we.
Yeah, we're very quickly making our way through Clone Wars. Speaking of which,
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Long story short, Ventress is now determined to kill Dooku. Right? She's like, fuck this guy. He betrayed me. I want to kill him. That's now her main fucking goal. So they try the overt approach first, where it's just like, we're going to like cloak you. You're going to sneak into his fucking palace. You're going to fucking kill him. Good to go.
Right.
Clearly that doesn't work. Dooku beats the fuck out of her and her 2 little assassin buddies.
Right.
Who like cloak themselves and sneak into his fucking palace. Like just straight up just takes him to fucking school. So that was a failure. So now they need to try a more covert approach. And that's when at the end of this episode, the Nightsisters episode, Mother suggests that they use a male from the planet, obviously referring to a Zabrak, and offer him up as Dooku's new apprentice. And that is their in to get him to drop his guard so they can then get in there and fucking kill him.
Right.
So that's pretty much the end of that episode. Moving right into episode 13, which is Monster. And it starts off with Mother just calling Dooku. Like, hey, you want to talk? I know I know you lost your apprentice, Ventress, who used to be one of us. She mentions, why don't you come down? Maybe we'll talk about your next apprentice or whatever. And by the way, not a trap. You know?
Definitely not a trap.
I mean, and of course he does. He just fucking rolls in like nothing's wrong. I mean, of course, the same thing happens with Anakin and Obi-Wan in the next episode. They're like, oh, fuck, this guy's from Dathomir. Let's go to Dathomir and go talk to them. Let's roll right into fucking Zabrak Town and talk to the fucking Zabraks, then roll right over to the fucking witches, talk to them, just like everything's cool.
What could possibly go wrong?
I know, right? What the fuck?
By the way, not a trap.
Yeah. Did I stress that enough? Not a trap. So, oh, yeah. So now fucking Ventress and Mother decide to go to Zabrak Town and they're going to fucking line up the men, you know, line up. We're going to do a walkthrough. We're going to do an inspection and figure out which of you are the worthy ones. And she's walking through the fucking line, Ventress is, and she sees some that are like small or weak and she's fucking knocking the shit out of them. She's like, get him out of here. Yeah, fuck this guy. He's not worthy. Until they finally narrow it down to a handful of Zabrak men, and now they have to go through trials to determine who's going to be her fucking little bitch boy.
Right.
And there's a pair. There's Savage, spelt like savage, but pronounced Savage.
Savage, like it's some fucking Ralph Lauren clone.
Yeah.
You expect it to be like, there I was.
Yeah.
Drinking tequila.
Yeah.
Savage.
And his buddy, whose name escapes me, but clearly Savage had some sort of affinity for this guy. They were either like blood related or something, but he wanted to really protect this other guy who was clearly weaker. And throughout the trials, he's protecting him. Oh,
did you get kind of tired of hearing the word brother?
Yes.
Yes. It like
yeah.
brother.
Yeah, it's like
brother.
Well,
brother.
because
you need
it
a Hulk
doesn't help.
Hogan to show up and be like, come on, brother, let's go, let's do this, brother. Ah!
That would be great. Well, it doesn't help that the fucking clones all refer to each other as brother too. So
brother.
So, at least we had a savage. Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. So, I noticed that Savage, his voices sounded familiar. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, that's fucking Clancy Brown. If you remember, we talked about him a couple episodes ago when we finished off The Mandalorian. Clancy Brown is the guy who was the big fucking red guy from Bill Burr's crew with the fucking horns and all that. And I told you, I'm like, that's Clancy Brown, character actor, was in fucking
no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Shawshank Redemption.
Sure.
Starship Troopers, a couple other things.
Let's go with yes.
I recognize his voice as, you know, Savage. I looked it up. Sure as shit, I was right. So, go me.
Yeah, go you, having a conversation entirely by yourself and also validating it by yourself.
Hey.
Isn't that like the definition of insanity? Probably.
Yeah. I'm not crazy. So, anyway, trials, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. They eventually, Savage is the winner. He goes back with fucking Ventress. You know, he's not like the biggest guy. I don't think he was even the biggest Zabrak in this lineup. But
not yet.
Yeah, not yet. So she takes him back to the fucking witches, and they perform their little seance thing on him. Really creepy scene, too. Their fucking eyes are rolling back in their head, and they're just doing all this weird, like, fucking witchery. I'm like, God damn, man.
Yeah,
they've really gotten away from the fucking kids show shit.
They're like, well, we know our audience now, so we're just going to go ahead full throttle into the fucking PG-13.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. As long, what we can get away with on Cartoon Network at this point.
Exactly, yeah. And through that, like, he apparently becomes the Hulk now. In all aspects. Like, in addition to being, like, big and fucking buff, his horns got bigger. He's now talking like the Hulk. He's not, like, saying sentences anymore. At least like, not initially.
Dumb, giant Zabrak.
Yeah.
Crush, kill.
Yeah, he's talking like that initially. Like, he starts kind of, like, evening out when he gets to Dooku later on next episode. But for now, he's like, me kill? You know, like, stupid shit.
Right.
So, anyway. But yeah, he's like fucking just like completely jacked.
Like Sloth. Rocky Road?
Yeah. Dooku shows up. They present him with his new fucking assassin/apprentice.
Assassin.
And he gives him his first assignment, which is
that's the next cologne. You have Savage.
Ooh, I like
you have Assassin.
And they keep saying like this temple that he's going to. It sounds like they keep saying the Temple of Eat It, like the fucking Weird Al song. Which is on, I believe, the Tidarian, the Toydaria or whatever it's called is the name of the planet.
It's Tidaria.
Yeah.
Tidaria.
Well, they pronounce it later on because I wrote a fucking note. They pronounce it in this. Where is it? Oh, come on. I know I wrote it down.
Only money.
And this sort of anti-Semitic thing. Oh, apparently I can't flip the right way. Yeah. Toydarian is the way they pronounce it.
Toy?
Yeah.
Toy like they're from...
I'm a Toydarian.
Toydarian.
Yeah.
Say Will Wheaton.
So, yeah, that was the end of that. But anyway, yeah, Dooku sends him to this fucking Toydarian Temple of Eat It. And he goes and he just like fucks everything up.
Yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah,
fucking...
yeah, he goes fucking savage on these fucking people. Like, he's like knocking over fucking battle droids on his way to just fucking charging these two Jedi that were there and just completely fucking shit wrecks them. Like, just annihilates both Jedi easily.
Right.
So that's where this episode ends.
Jedi are fucking weak.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're fucking weak, man.
Yeah.
Like throughout this whole thing, like all these fucking red-shirted Jedi, to use a Star Trek colloquialism.
Yeah.
Right. You just run into these fucking Jedi, and they're just like, I don't fight very well.
And this would be a good side discussion for maybe a future episode, but kind of comparing that to the way the Sith were before they went to the Rule of Two. Bane recognized that their power was so diluted because there were so many, and they were ganging up on the more powerful people to eliminate them, and they were just weak overall.
There was that mob mentality,
right? And a lot of it was due to their sheer numbers. Do you think that's part of the problem with the Jedi?
No, I think the Jedi, it was completely. They were so busy fighting themselves.
Yeah. That
they couldn't possibly be as powerful as they could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they're this edict from fucking Yoda about how they can't, there's no passion, there's like, they can't love. So when they have attractions and things like that, they're having to fight this internal battle to make sure, like, oh, I can't have an attachment to this.
Yeah, it's like, you will keep your boner down.
Yeah, exactly. And just sort of fucking eating the saltpeter and not fucking not getting raging hard-ons for these fucking hot Twi'leks that are walking around because oh my god, that's the worst thing ever. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the Sith are like, yes, big giant dicks, right? Just giant hard-ons, and fucking they're completely unbridled in using their passions when the Jedi are fighting themselves. This is why Yoda is the goddamn Yoda is the Antichrist of the Star Wars universe. Like, he is.
Hold on, I'm gonna write this down. This is a good future topic.
I think,
and I'm gonna really write this too.
It's kind of been my theme for a while. The more, like, you say it in jest, but Yoda really is the downfall of the Jedi. It is his fault. He is the Grand Master of the Jedi for hundreds of years. So many of these Jedi, their teachings and the other masters have been made through Yoda. Mm-hmm. He led the council. So this mentality that the Jedi weren't always like this. Yeah. Otherwise, there'd be no more fucking Jedi. They'd have tricked themselves out.
So this is another good analogy to draw. I'll try to keep the politics to a minimum here, but one of the big complaints about our current state of government is some of these elected officials have been in these fucking seats for decades. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Imagine Yoda being the fucking head of the Jedi for
a century.
Several hundred years. Yeah. So
centuries, yeah.
Yeah, so you get this one guy at the fucking top for so long, it's going to get...
And I don't think, if we take what we see literally in, like, Last Jedi with Yoda speaking to Luke, right? And at that point, I think that's like kind of the mea culpa for Yoda and his throttling, or like the way he led the Jedi for so many centuries. I think when he's talking to Luke, he's making a clear statement that he's made mistakes. Like, in these mistakes, and you have to learn from those mistakes. It's the greatest teacher is failure.
Yeah.
And yeah, he led them to a lot of failures. And do I think Yoda meant it to be like, I'm deliberately going to run the Jedi into the ground? No, I don't think so. But I think Yoda encountered that the Jedi, because they had these attachments, they started to become more drawn to the dark side.
Yeah.
And it was too easy to pull them. So, okay, it's this fucking, it's that discipline where it's like, okay, that's bad for you, so you cannot have it.
Right.
No, no, can't, nope, no, hey, can't have it. No.
Yeah. Which is funny to think about now, because one of the last scenes of Rise of Skywalker, after all these fucking Jedi from all these fucking generations are talking to Rey, telling her to get up, fucking kill Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
What's one of the first fucking things she does after that? Kisses a guy she has feelings for. So,
well, and she also has a yellow lightsaber, proving neutrality. I just remembered what I was trying to remember earlier.
Okay.
Just remembered it.
We'll eventually get back to Clone Wars. Go ahead.
Hang on, let me. Fuck. Oh no. It's gone again.
Something about the voices?
Oh,
Rise of
yeah.
Skywalker, yellow
So,
lightsaber?
oh, should we really talk about this now? Yeah, fuck it. So, there was a topic, one of these clickbaity things. I just happened to like be scrolling through and I saw it, where it was talking about how Anakin like says to Rey when they're trying to get up,
Bring balance like
I did.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically talking about how, like, well, Anakin obviously didn't bring balance because all this shit happened. That, we might need to put a pin in that and just talk about that for an entire episode, because I don't know if we've talked about it, like, the actual balance, like...
I want to say we did.
We had a forced conversation, and now that we've had Rise of Skywalker, and
it would be a good time to revisit that.
Yeah, but... for those people that are having that conversation, like, well, Anakin didn't bring balance to the Force. Now Rey's doing it or something else. Like, no. Like, ultimately, Anakin's is the only one that was really on both sides of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was the beginning and the end.
Right. Yeah.
When it really comes down to it, because he, impregnates Padme. The twins come out of that. And then,
I love how you're still calling her Padme.
Impregnates Padme, and the fucking twins come from that, and then it kind of spawns him. So then it's his son and his daughter do all this other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to think if there's a Latin term for it.
Balance.
At the beginning and the end. No. Anyway, but think of it like, let me orientalize this here, because John Williams made me do it. But it's like the yin and the yang, right? He's both things,
right?
When it comes to the Star Wars universe, but there's a conversation being had about, that's full of shit. He's not. How could he say that, like, be the balance, like, bring about balance, like, in the Force, like I did, right? Yeah, he did. Like, his existence was what made him the chosen one.
That's a good point.
So anyway. Back to fucking Clone Wars.
Yeah. So, moving on to the third episode of this trilogy, The Witches of the Mist. This is episode 14 of season 3, and this is the last episode we're going to talk about today. And the Jedi are on the case. So, voice guy tells us that the Jedi have
mysterious deaths unknown to the Jedi. A new threat has unleashed on the galaxy. Savage Opress, a pawn in a dangerous game between Count Dooku and his former assassin Ventress. The victims of his brutal massacre on the planet Deveron.
Sure.
Deveron are being returned to the Jedi Temple for evaluation. It's up to the Jedi Council to find this mysterious killer and eradicate him.
Yeah. And we should actually do this every time now. You should read that in the voice.
Every
time we talk about a Clone Wars episode. So, yeah, this is the part where I wrote down Republic Commandos. I wrote in big bold letters. I don't know if you can see that.
I can.
But yeah, these fucking Republic Commandos deliver these Jedi bodies. I'm like, oh, it's them.
Yeah.
So, haven't seen them in action yet, but fuck, man. That was pretty awesome getting to see them.
Agreed.
They deliver the bodies. While that's happening, and the Jedi are like, guess we should find out what's going on. This is when they're like, well, let's go to Dathomir.
Yeah.
What could go wrong, right? So,
not a trap.
Yeah. Again, not a trap.
Not at all.
While this is going on, Savage is training with Dooku. He gets his fucking lightsaber. He gets his own dual-bladed red lightsaber. but Dooku is fucking him up. Oh my god, with the fucking Force lightning and this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like 90% of this episode was Dooku shocking fucking Savage with Force lightning. It's oh my god, like
It's almost like abuse. That's at one point. It's like you're just doing it because you can.
Yeah, but like I wrote down as one of my last notes. Apparently, Force lightning is kryptonite to Savage because it's the only thing that like can subdue him, and he's really weak to it and has no idea how to defend himself against it. Because again, 90% of this episode is Dooku shocking the shit out of him.
I'd like to equate it to the Nightsisters made this dude into what he is, right? So they're using like spells and sorcery to actually enable Savage to be this Force user way more powerful than he's supposed to be.
Sure.
Like being on Dathomir, there's like Force sensitivity just in his genes, but I think he's not the level of a Force user that like Amal was.
Sure.
Yeah, he just, whether it's through the training or just because, I think it's the steroid use from, you got Savage and fucking all roided up.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, it makes his balls smaller, and that's really where the Force is. It's in your balls.
And he's got the red skin, so it hides the acne really well.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, Force lightning is basically that. It's like, hey, if you could use the Force like a Sith Lord would, then you'd be able to handle this shit. But you're not. You're just fucking this roided up fucking monster that it can
can't control his fucking roid rage.
Exactly. Just easily tamed by fucking shocking the fuck out of him.
Yep. So we get all that going on. So this is where we're introduced to the concept that Obi-Wan is a racist. So they find the fucking footage from when Savage killed those two Jedi on the thing. Keep in mind, Savage has fucking like yellow skin where he's not red like fucking Maul. He's yellow, but he is tattooed. He is a Zabrak. Fucking
sorry, I misspoke when I said he was red, covering the acne. Either way, couldn't see the acne.
Covered up, paint and whatnot. He looks at this footage and he's like, Darth Maul is still alive? And I'm just like, so all Zabraks look alike? Like, it's just like...
Obviously, he was listening to some John Williams music, then fucking pushed him over the edge.
Yeah. And I'm like, come on, Obi-Wan, you're better than this. Like, you see footage of this guy who looks nothing like Darth Maul. And you're like, Maul is still alive? What?
I've never seen another Zabrak except for all these dozens of times. In fact, there's a Jedi one version of this.
He's right over there.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Whereas that Jedi's like, what the fuck, dude?
So,
yeah.
We have to interrupt this broadcast.
Uh-huh.
Tom Brady's a free agent? Is that what I'm looking at right now?
Well, I mean, his contract was up this offseason. I thought it wasn't supposed to be until March when the free agency period started.
In the chat, they're saying that he cleaned out his locker at Gillette.
Nah, that's news from like 4 days ago. He also moved out of fucking New England. He lives in Connecticut now. Come on, this is days old, people.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I think if he plays again, it will still be for New England, though. I don't see him going to another team. I see him retiring before he goes to a different team.
I don't know about that.
Who knows? Giselle might be a bitch, and he might just need. I gotta get out of the fucking house, man. Come on.
I gotta go. I gotta go have a reason to work out as opposed to just running a fucking gym.
Yeah. It's like, Cleveland, are you guys hiring? You need a quarterback?
Could you fucking imagine? Can you imagine if he went to the Browns?
No, there's no way he would, because if he's gonna play anywhere, it's gonna be like Brett Favre when he was getting to the end of his career. He's going to play only for a team that has an actual chance of winning.
Only money.
Only money. Oh, he'll get the money, too. But, yeah, he's
that is the one thing. Brady has never gotten paid like the top.
That is true.
He's probably the greatest quarterback of this generation. Mm-hmm. And he's not being paid like it.
No, but he intentionally took less money several times during his career so that the Patriots could...
But don't you think at some point it's got to be like, man, like, here, my contract's coming up. How about you actually give me the money that I fucking have earned?
Quite frankly, I have zero sympathy for a guy who makes like $12 million a year.
Oh, listen, there's zero sympathy for Tom Brady at all. I mean, he's got a lot of money. Mm-hmm. He's banging a supermodel. Mm-hmm. He can go fuck himself.
Yeah.
But he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play the game, first ballot Hall of Famer, and it appears to me that the franchise is choosing to stick with Belichick and I'm willing to bet that Brady walks, like you're saying, he's going to play for another team because Belichick is done with Brady. He doesn't feel like that team can be successful without him.
Belichick wanted to get rid of Brady 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo was his heir apparent. Like, he was ready for Brady to retire that fucking season. Brady's like, I ain't going anywhere. Whispers in fucking Bob Kraft's ear. He's like, get this fucking guy out of here. And next thing you know, Garoppolo falls right into the 49ers' lap.
No, it was
Thanks,
good for
Tom.
you.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, I think both Brady and Belichick, sorry to get off on a football rant here, but I think they both feel like they want to prove that they can win without the other. I think that's what it boils down to. There's so much pride there.
Yeah.
Like, they both have all this fucking pride, and they feel like...
Hubris? Was there some hubris there?
Yes, there is. And, yeah, I think they both want to prove that they can win without the other.
Fair enough. It's a valid point.
Yeah.
But speaking of hubris...
the hubris of the Jedi. No, so, getting back to Witches of the Mist, Anakin and Obi-Wan go to fucking Zabrak Town. The Zabraks are like, the fucking guy you're looking for, the witches took him last week. So they go to the fucking mother. Doesn't kill them. She's like, oh yeah, he's over on this planet now. Like, I don't understand what's going on here, you know? Ventress is right in the next room, by the way.
Yeah.
She could fucking pop in and just...
Boyle, it's the witches are trying, they have their own self-interest, and they probably... Or if they don't outright say, it's like, if we kill a couple of Jedi, that's going to bring a lot of fucking attention here. It's just as well to fucking let them go. Yeah. Be on their way. Too small. Wait, what's this one? Oh, Obi-Wan from the cockpit of the Falcon, the TIE fighter. He's too small. It's just as well to let him go.
Right. So...
Sorry. That took way too long for it to spill out of my dome.
There's this whole side story where fucking Savage is supposed to bring this fucking Tadarian alive to Dooku. Doesn't do it because Anakin and Obi-Wan interfere. He's got to fucking kill the thing, but he brings the corpse with him. Dooku's like, fuck you, you failed. Starts force shocking him again.
Yeah.
And this is when Ventress shows up. She shows back up. Dooku's like, you're alive. And she's like, yes, and he's with me. She fucking does her little finger thing on dude's forehead, and she's like, you're with me, and let's fucking kill him. So now we get this scene where it's Ventress and fucking Savage against Dooku. Dooku, again, fucking holding his own, like, beating the piss out of them. He's like, fucking fighting Ventress, shocking fucking Savage. Fighting her, shock, fight, shock. And this goes on for what feels like an eternity. Until... fucking Savage gets pissed at both of them, and he turns on fucking both of them. So he starts force choking fucking both her and Dooku. And it's this kind of like three-way fight going on. Then Anakin and Obi-Wan show up. Like, all kinds of shit going on. Dooku and Ventress go off fighting each other, and while fucking Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting Savage. Fucking all kinds of crazy shit going on. Ultimately, Ventress and Savage both pull a Grievous, where they fucking just go run in a ship and fucking beat feet out of there.
Yeah.
Where they run away like bitches.
Pulling a Grievous. Yeah. That's exactly right.
And then we get this final scene where they're back on fucking Dathomir, and Savage is talking to Mother. And she's like, well, you need to go learn more of the ways of the Force and everything else. And, oh, by the way, your brother is going to fucking teach you. And she's looking at her fucking little crystal ball.
Right.
And through that, you see the face of fucking Maul. And she's like, he's alive. He's on the fucking Outer Rim. Take this talisman. You know what to do. So this is, from what I can understand, this is the moment in Clone Wars where it is revealed that Darth Maul is still alive.
Right.
So we don't actually get to see him until later, but...
But you can just imagine, like, the crescendo of, like, holy fuck, here's Maul.
Yeah, the big fucking revelation. I'm sure all the fans who were watching it at the time were like, fuck!
And I made that comment, too, when we were watching it at work. It's like, this probably was a pretty big deal when it came out.
Yeah.
we may have... it may have moved our meter a little
Mhm.
bit as Star Wars fans. You know,
Yeah,
just weren't watching it at the time. This came out what 2010,
God.
11 January 2011.
Yeah, and I can remember like my kids were 3, 4, and fucking 10. So like I was way too busy with fucking life at home and work because I had just started flying with you guys a couple years before that, so I was really starting to fucking get on the road a lot.
Yep.
So my free time as far as like Clone Wars goes was just non-existent. But
Yeah.
I did kind of hear rumblings of Darth Maul being alive again, thinking, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. It was, like I said, it moved the meter, but it wasn't anything that was. We started watching it because of that, because it was really hard to watch.
Mhm.
Let's face it, 9 years ago, almost to the day,
Wow.
because today's the 20th.
Yeah.
9 years ago to the day was the release of this episode.
Damn.
So almost a decade ago. And think of how prolific, DVR was a thing, but it wasn't
Yeah,
like as big, as readily available.
Because we had a TiVo back then, yeah.
Yeah, so Hulu Live wasn't a thing.
No, streaming services weren't.
Exactly.
in
Which is
existence
really
at that
strange to
point.
think about. Like 2011 in our old person brains doesn't seem like it was that fucking long ago.
No, not at all.
But it was almost a decade.
Yeah. That was when we were subscribing to Netflix, getting fucking DVDs in the
DVDs.
mail.
Actual DVDs.
Oh man, fucking crazy. So my final thoughts on these 4 episodes: very entertaining. No fucking dumb bullshit kiddie episodes, which is obviously why they're on this like 12 essential episodes to watch.
Right.
Because we're getting through all the bullshit. None of the fucking Padme or droid episodes. This is the fucking meat of this. This is why people love Clone Wars, and I can see why. Being able to skip all the dumb shit and get to good, solid episodes like these. Now I'm interested.
Agreed.
Right now I can see why.
I can tell you though, having finished season 3, that there are still some clunkers out there, but hopefully we'll be skipping those.
Yes.
So.
And speaking of which, the next episodes that I'm looking at for next episode of the podcast are the Mortis trilogy, which the Mortis trilogy are the 3 episodes: Overlords, Altar of Mortis, and Ghosts of Mortis. No idea what this is about, and you know what? I'll just be surprised when it comes up, but I think that's towards the end of season 3. And then we've got another arc after that. So we'll start with this. At some point, we're going to have to do more than 3 an episode if we're going to catch up before the next season of Clone Wars comes out. But we'll kind of play that one by ear. This next week is not a good week for me to do more than 3 episodes because I got the Magic Fest this weekend and everything else. So
At the Magic Fest, you got...
I'll be out of pocket. And then, of course, the week after that is Super Bowl week. So we got a lot going on over the next couple of weeks. So, and again, our schedule will be adjusted accordingly. So don't,
Because of Jason.
Yes.
Not because of Dave. This is actually Jason's
Yes,
fault.
this is the first week where it's my fault that we're not recording at our regularly scheduled time, which really we don't even
It's
have.
not every time been my fault. Most of the time it's my fault. This time, it's Jason's fault.
Yeah. This time only. So, anyway.
Own it. Just own it, Jason. It's okay.
But that's it for this week. I like that we're doing it this way. I wish we had done this sooner. I wish we had access to this list of these essential episodes because this would have been a much easier way to do it. In fact, we probably should never even have watched the first 2 seasons. We should have done something like this to start, and it wouldn't have killed our motivation.
Well, I think we put it out there that, hey, we want to get this list, and then the Nerdist article probably materialized it a little bit better for us.
Yeah,
so.
we had some listener input as well.
Yeah, sure we did.
If we had more time between now and the fucking season 7 premiere, we'd probably try to get through all of those recommended ones, but unfortunately it's not possible.
Right.
So we're going to plow through these 12 episodes or storylines and call it good, and then we'll cover Clone Wars as it happens.
Yeah. When was episode?
February 17th.
17th.
Yeah, so like I said, we got 4 episodes between now and then, after this episode, if I did my math right. So we should have enough time to get through all this.
Should have plenty of time.
Yeah.
And, look, probably an hour of today was spent bullshitting. So as per usual.
Yeah.
As per usual.
That's how we do it.
And I kind of alluded to, like, we were talking to a guy at the comic book store about, like, our podcast in particular, like how it's an all things Star Wars podcast, right? So, and by not focusing on one thing, we bullshit a lot.
Yeah.
We just do. We have a tendency to do that. So,
but I think that's where we're the most entertaining as well.
I would agree. Yeah, we are the most entertaining. That's why we're number 1 on podbelly.com.
That's right.
along with the fact that we are alphabetically superior in
we-
every way.
Yes.
The rest are inferior alphabetically. However, they are good podcasts. So
Yeah.
go to podbelly.com for all of your podcasting needs.
Yep. And also, obviously, check out the Escape Pod, which we host
Yes.
on our audio stream, but they also have their own YouTube channel where they
Yep.
stream live. And check out Used and Abused. Used and Abused podcast. I've been a guest on that at least once.
Yeah.
So check that
Yeah,
out.
once.
Our loyal listener, Scott Rasmussen, and his lovely wife, Kim, host that. So go listen to that.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
If you're interested in hearing Jason on podcasts, you could also hear him on Sofa King podcast fairly recently,
That
probably
is
in
correct.
the past couple months, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah, we've picked up a couple of listeners because of that.
Yes.
So,
So we appreciate you
yes.
and really appreciate our Patreon supporters
Yes.
who are
Do I have to read this again? I already read it once.
so read at the end.
Wow. Okay, you're
Now
throwing me-
where did you put it?
I don't know.
See, this was a test. It was a test, Jason,
Did
and
you
you
take
blew it. You blew it.
Did you take it?
No,
Oh,
I
there it
did
is.
not. Jesus Christ. You
Tony
usually-
Ferrari, Camille Donovan, Nick Jackson, Frederick Martin, Big Lovin, Scott Rasmussen, Tactical Swede, Don Solsky, and Shotgun Mark. Thank you so much for your support. And you can support the All Things Star Wars podcast on Patreon, patreon.com/ATSW podcast. Why does Brady hate me?
Because the Niners are going to the Super Bowl and the Raiders just still suck dick.
It's the closest thing that he's ever going to get to one of his teams going to the Super Bowl because it's the Bay thing. Well, it's not even gonna be the
interestingly
Bay
enough,
thing.
I've been defending you and your Niners fandom because I know you've been a 49ers fan,
Mhm.
but you've had this pretend Michigan thing going, which I've humored, right, for your college football fandom, and your connection to Michigan football was through Harbaugh. So
And our
I think-
loyal listeners.
and I
Don
think
and
you were
Brady.
reaching a little bit too. I think you were reaching like, oh, let me try and get on some Michigan success because of Harbaugh, which obviously did not work out.
Well-
and will continue to not work out for you.
So here's the thing. One of the main reasons why I never got into college football was because I didn't have a team. Like, I didn't have anybody to root for.
You were in California. You could have rooted for USC, UCLA, fucking San Diego State. You had all the Pacific Northwest teams. Like, there's all the college football over there.
Yeah, but back when I was, like, really into football growing up, USC being successful wasn't really a thing. I don't think even UCLA was. So, I don't know. I never had a team to kind of take ownership of and root for. Whereas
Penn State.
I had 49ers roots. So whatever.
Look,
I don't have to explain myself to you.
You don't, and like I said, I've been defending you, but
Yeah.
I take exception to the fact that you're, Brady and his connection to the Bay Area, like it's a Las Vegas team now.
That is
I mean,
true.
it might as well be.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a whole new stadium. They've
Mhm.
got Chucky.
Sure hope they have air conditioning in that fucking stadium.
How
'cause-
about, of course, how about the Chip Kelly connection too? Like Chip Kelly leaving, Chip Kelly cutting the fucking Mostert, like that shit. Just Mostert. Chip Kelly is a horrible, horrible, horrible coach and human being.
what is he doing these days anyway?
He's coaching UCLA.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I had no
Yeah,
idea.
and leading them to failure too. So it's fucking great. Fucking great. Everything Chip Kelly touches turns to absolute dog shit.
Thank God the 49ers very quickly corrected that mistake.
Oh yeah, just like the Eagles did.
Yeah. Well, the Eagles kept him for what, 2 or 3 seasons?
Was it 3?
I think it might have been 3.
Oh my god.
And then
Yeah, he devastated the fucking program,
Mhm.
and then as soon as he leaves, we turn around and go to the fucking Super Bowl and win.
And
So-
then and it's funny too because you were like 3 years removed from Chip Kelly when your guys went to the Super Bowl. And now we're about 3 years removed, and now we're going to the Super Bowl.
2 years. Chip Kelly was a coach for 2 years
Okay. Either way,
because it's 2 years for us and then 3 years for you guys.
well, and maybe our franchises needed that reset. Maybe we
Yeah.
needed the Chip Kelly reset.
Yeah, maybe it was a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe UCLA is going to benefit. Like Oregon, like Big Lovin brings the fact that Oregon's back and to being good. Cause
Well, I guess
Chip Kelly
we'll know.
took them to one national championship, and then they fucking
I guess if UCLA fires Chip Kelly in a couple of years, and then 3 years after that they fucking win a national championship, then we'll know.
Yeah, exactly.
The-
The Chip Kelly factor.
Yeah. So if you want your franchise to be successful, hire him. Let him devastate
Right.
your fucking franchise.
Clean out the entire fucking franchise.
Yep. And then just a hard reset. You know.
I like it.
All right, that's enough football for the day. That's enough of the whole podcast for the day, I think. So that is a great place for us to end this. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everybody, watching on YouTube and in the chat. We love you guys. Keep the love coming. If you want to partake in some of our social media shenanigans, you can follow us on Instagram at...
All things SW Pod.
Okay.
No, all things
that's
Star
our
Wars
Twitter.
Pod.
Yeah.
The Twitter is all thing SW Pod.
Yes. And you can join the private Facebook group, the Sidebar Cantina, where we post a lot of memes and talk a lot of shit.
Agreed.
Yes. And you will do it. So, anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, fuck. I can't believe you got me into doing this. I can't have the empty
It's a
glass.
real thing.
If you say so. Like, it's irrelevant to me. I have no reservations about... Well, I used to not have any reservations about, toasting with an empty glass, but now apparently I have to have something in there.
You do.
So.
Oh, and Brady wants to mention... We did mention the Escape Pod, but it's on Wednesday at 1900.
Yeah, Wednesday,
Eastern.
1900 Eastern Time,
Right.
7 p.m. for you non-military types.
Right. But
Check
remember,
out their YouTube,
all things Star Wars.
and you will do it.
Do it.
All right. Until next time, everybody, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Okay, now what do I click?
I lost my mouse. My pointer, I'm like, where is it? It's probably stuck on the second screen. 2 hours. 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I don't know, that'll wash down to probably a little over 2.
Yeah.
Some pregnant pauses in there.
Which, again, going into this, I'm like, 4 episodes of the Clone Wars, and we have no news to talk about. This is going to be a short episode. No.
Not with me ranting for 20 fucking minutes.
But it was a good rant.
Thank you, everyone in the chat.
See.
You always make it 3PO. You always make it that much better.
Mm-hmm. And all the new people, too. Kelly. Oh, she was in there last week, too.
Last week, yeah.
Somebody else was in there who looked like they were brand new.
Somebody is up here. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. This guy.
Ramon Azab. He was talking about
I feel like it's Baze Nomer.
Okay.
Or Baza Nomer.
Again, okay.
He was talking about the Noob Kylo comic.
I gotta figure out why Kristen was pissed at me. Like the first fucking chat in there is like, oh wow, thanks. I'm like, but what did I say?
I don't know.
I didn't. Do you know what I did? I don't know what I did.
And this is one of those times where I actually don't know. Usually I can pinpoint exactly when you fucked up. This time I couldn't tell you. I do not know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you let your drink go empty.
Yeah. Don't forget about your shirt too.
Oh, it's in my bag already.
Excellent.
Yes. Look at its excellence.
All the pops.
All the pops. I need all the more pops.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for fucking Baby Yoda to hit the Build-A-Bear. Can't fucking wait.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. That's something we could have talked about.
Yeah. When did they say it was going to be? I think it's early February, late January, February, something like that.
Yeah.
But I'll be taking my niece to go do that.
Awesome.
So I will have the Baby Yoda plush here in studio.
You know, in downtown Disney in California, they have a Build-A-Bear workshop in that fucking outdoor mall area, which they've already got a shitload of Star Wars stuff in there. So that's gonna be even better with Baby Yoda.
We all need to give our...
Yeah, like, if you have the time, Fucking go to that Washington Post article and tell that guy how much a fucking retard he is. Ugh. Oh, Kelly figured it out. I said nobody was listening, and Kristen was actually in the chat.
See.
There we go.
It took another woman to figure it out. I was gonna say split tail. I don't know, Kelly. Like, she might take that as offensive. Who did I say split tail to somebody the other day?
I don't even know what that means.
Who was I talking to?
I have no idea.
That said they hadn't heard that either. I've been using that term for years. I don't even know where I picked it up.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard you say it.
You definitely have heard me say it.
Have I?
Yes.
Oh.
Were you sober? Maybe not.
If it was on the road, highly likely that I was not sober. So.
Here, I'm gonna post the initial link.
Do you miss being on the road?
Yeah, I do. So we were in a hotel Saturday night, and you remember the machinations, like, because we've been in so many hotels.
Oh yeah,
like that was a big part of our career, and jumping around at all the different hotels and kind of like getting the muscle memory like is still there.
Oh yeah,
for where the rooms and get like room setups and like how I like my stuff to be in a certain way and all this other shit. And it was just like the parts that I missed about being on the road were like getting there. Yeah, the flights were long. There was it was stressful and everything else, but you know, we got to go to a lot of places and the travel was frequent enough. Sometimes it was too frequent, but almost always once you got out on the road, like at least for me, once I got out on the road, I was able to like be in a mission mindset and kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
And and just take everything as it came. And, you know, honestly, the more busy it was, like the flights especially, like when we were really busy on a flight, it actually was a lot better that way.
Oh sure, as opposed to just like sitting there just fucking twiddling your thumbs.
And we've done that
24 hours straight on an airplane.
When there's dozens of bodies on the airplane that are all fucking asleep, and the only two people awake are you and the pilot. So yeah, those are parts of it I don't miss. But like, you know, I think about it. I was talking to Kat the other day about the. I used to go up in the cockpit, you know, at night, and I would lay on the high jump seat, the evaluator chair. I'd lay in the evaluator chair and I'd look because the windows are curved like this. Yeah. And I just lay there and look at all the fucking stars. Oh yeah. Because the cleanest windows in an airplane are the ones in the cockpit. Sure. Yeah. So you know, anyone who's ever flown a commercial airliner and you're looking out your little window, there's like, I don't know, there's like scratches and you're looking through like 5 layers of plastic. Or realistically 2 layers of plastic and then 2 panes of glass. Yeah. And they don't clean those windows. It's not a priority. Right. So, but
it is kind of important for the pilots to have their windows clean.
So those windows are going to be pristine, and seeing things like the Northern Lights,
which the only time I've seen the Northern Lights was on the airplane. Yeah. When we were on the road. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. And the one time I think the last time I saw them, it was for like almost a half hour.
I think I was on that one.
The one with we had the full moon and the fucking Northern Lights.
I remember the full moon. Yeah, I was on that one.
That was fucking insane. Yeah. That was insane. But more to your point, yeah, I do miss it. Yeah,
I have been more lately. I think it took a while because I was so burned out by the end that I was ready to not be on the road fucking ever again. And I think it's only just recently been kind of creeping back out. Like, oh yeah, that was good. I wouldn't mind trying to do.
You know,
I
feel like that's kind of a. I feel like that's something once you retire, you know, and it's one of those things where you remember the good of it more than you remember the bad.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I miss being able to go TDY. You know, I really enjoy being home.
Oh yeah, me too.
I like the ability to come home every day and working more of a 9-to-5 deal and everything else. But like when there's something going on, like, oh, hey, there's something going on in friggin' at headquarters. And I'm so used to being the guy who would go and do stuff like that because it kind of validated a level of importance, like, and not a participation award, but
well, no, you're a part of something important. Like,
yeah,
you're a part of the process of important things going on,
and having to, I'm doing job interviews and trying to upsell myself, and I look at all these things and all that I got to do.
Yeah,
and really cool to talk about for the upsell, but I also miss that. I miss the level of importance. I think right now I'm a glorified admin guy. Just happened to have a lot of experience doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's hard, and I think that's just it's a fact of life with coming out of the military and being young enough to know that there's more on the back half of it, but at the same time being so old that like I'm not super interested in like just exclusively traveling because fuck that. But I'd like to be set enough where I could go and fucking be on vacation and go and fly.
Yeah, maybe actually take your spouse for a change,
right?
As opposed to all the time on the road we spent with other dudes.
Exactly, all the romantic dinners. I was talking about it was one of the Athens runs that we were doing for the Olympics the one year, and we were in Crete, and me and Brad Jacobs are like sitting at this fucking, it's the super romantic, we're sitting in this outdoor cafe with the umbrellas over us and this fucking water lapping and the whole fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
Right, and we're passed out with the fucking. Because we've just been nonstop drunk, and it gave us this like watermelon ouzo at the table. And we're like drinking that and just waiting for our food. And
I can't count the number of times on both hands that I've been having dinner on the fucking beach in Hawaii, looking out at the fucking ocean at the sunset, and a couple other dudes sitting at the table with me.
Oh yeah,
like, fuck. Sure would be nice to actually have my wife here.
Yeah. John and I definitely have spent more romantic dinners than. In austere places than the wife, for real. So anyway, I linked the actual Washington Post article, in there.
Go and just fucking lambast that person.
Yeah, there's already some.
Actually, no, I should not be calling to harass people online. Don't harass him. Just tell him how fucking stupid his opinion is.
Wow. So one of the comments that's under here. There's 47 comments. One of them is the outrage expressed by the innocent viewers totally encapsulates the justification for Chen's insightful article. Without such insight, the willfully oblivious consign themselves to skin-deep level of viewers of racist statuary. Example, Confederate soldiers memorialized in countless southern town and country. What? Are you fucking kidding me?
I just want to punch these people until they die.
No, I don't want them to die. I want to hurt them to a point where they have to live their life, the rest of their lives, in fucking agony.
Fair enough.
Chen doesn't delve into enough details of the racist elements of John Williams' music and the on-screen depictions. Why did it take until the last 2 episodes that human Asians were cast? I figured that ages have been wiped out in an intergalactic epidemic.
What does the casting have to do with John fucking Williams?
Yoda.
He doesn't make casting decisions.
Yoda, the sole positive Asian depiction, is a swamp-sucking, pigeon-sprouting, last-of-his-kind character.
How is he Asian? What is wrong with these fucking idiots?
You may go to the movies just to enjoy yourselves, but then you are simply being manipulated by brilliant, quote, artists, Williams, Lucas, who themselves, at best, ignorantly surf the top of cultural waves without perhaps being aware of the tropes they inherit and propagate. George Lucas, with his Jones and War series, is more a subtle version of D.W. Griffith. Lucas himself is not a highly self-aware being. For years, he commuted across the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. Then he created the Imperial Walkers on Hoth. He has repeatedly, even vehemently, denied that the white loading cranes, easily visible while crossing the bridge, inspired the walkers. There's a sub-industry now created to support Lucas's dual-level denial. Even stop-motion animator Phil Tippett claims that garbage trucks were the inspiration. Wow. So he went from Yoda is as a positive Oriental, but not really, because then he trashes that, and it goes into talking about how the fact that the walkers may have been inspired by the Oakland Bay Bridge, and somehow that makes fucking George Lucas into a I'm sorry, let me make sure I quote it. Let's see. I just.
This is why we can't have nice things. You know, we were gifted.
Oh, here it is. You may go to the movies just to enjoy yourselves, but then you are simply being manipulated by quote brilliant artists, Lucas and Williams, who themselves at best ignorantly surf the top of the cultural waves without perhaps being aware of the tropes they inherit and propagate. This is how this person, Norman P. Ishimoto, this individual is forgetting how a lot of what Lucas did early in his career was anti-war. This is like he was having his own protests against the war into his fucking movies.
Yeah.
This is in a post-Vietnam era.
Yeah.
Let's forget all that. Let's just forget that. Again, you have an opinion and you go so far as to fucking basically the viewer willfully is oblivious to consign themselves to the skin-deep levels of viewers of racist statuary. For example, the Confederate soldiers memorialized in countless southern town and country parks, allegedly celebrating simply their heritage, not their heritage of racial superiority. You're equating that to how Star Wars reinforces our prejudices.
What do you even say to that? Like,
that response is almost as ridiculous as the fucking article itself.
oh, it's more ridiculous. It's like you can't fix stupid, right? And the sad fact is we were given this brilliant invention, one of the greatest inventions of mankind, the internet. The ability for everyone in our species to communicate instantaneously to anybody else on the fucking planet. And this is the dumb shit we're using it for. That's great.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic. I think it's time to end this.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm
I'm
stab
getting
myself with this fucking pencil.
I'm getting more and more aggravated when I read the
Yeah.
other.
Never read the comments. It's only going to make you angry. So, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. This was your bonus post-episode.
Yeah. Go Chiefs!
Yeah.
Come on, me and Ben are going to be... I might have to come up with...
some Chiefs gear?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
that's absolutely not going to happen.
Yeah. Come in your Eagles gear. That's fine.
I'll
Show your support for Andy Reid.
I'll put Ben on my shoulders and we'll do
go.
it that way. That'll be my Chiefs gear.
Yeah. So, all right.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Don't know when. You know, flexibility is the key to air power, right?
Right.
So be flexible with our recording schedule. Yes, I know it's not ideal for some of you people in Idaho or Iowa or wherever the fuck you are.
That may be the most offensive thing you've ever said to them, ever.
It's my thing. It's what I do. But, you know, we'll get to some semblance of normalcy after the Super Bowl, I'd like to think.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what happens when your team is so successful. And your Sunday nights are occupied by NFC championships and Super Bowls.
Right.
So we'll get there.
Or Magic the Gathering bullshit.
Fact. But that only happens once a year, so.
Fair enough. Oh, I also remembered the Comic-Con, the PhillyCon is like in August. I got the dates. I took a picture of it.
It's coming around again.
Yeah, so we need to do something for that.
Yes.
Either do try and get in there and do a live show, or like actually get a table.
Yeah.
We should see what that entails.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully not a lot of money.
Yeah, hopefully no money at all. Get some sort of press credential.
Oh, there you. Ooh,
We've been around. We've been
Press
around.
passes.
We've been around forever. I
3
mean,
years. It'll be over 3 years.
yeah. So
by then.
you have to have some validity as a thing, right?
You would think.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
All right.
Anybody knows how to get press passes? Let us know.
Oh shit, that'd be awesome.
It would be. You got to fucking.
And they always have Star Wars people at these fucking conventions.
I-
that's where I met Ray Park. I got the picture of me and Ray Park together. So
I have a picture of the initial people that are going to be there, and there was only one Star Wars person. Unfortunately, Tango, Tango, Tango. Here we go.
wish it was Daisy Ridley.
It is not. I probably would have splooged on the parking lot.
I would pay any amount of money to lick the sweat off of her armpits.
I would not. Crack of her ass, maybe. They got a broad from Solo, a Star Wars story. It was
Amelia Clark?
No, it's Aaron Kellyman.
Kelly Man?
That's look. I did not take a good picture of the sign. And then somebody from Rebels, Steve Blum.
We'll have to look that up. What's that chick's name? Aaron Kelly Man?
Yeah,
Aaron
it's an
Kelly,
interesting name.
man. Yeah. She popped right up. Hang on. We're about to find out. We're going to do this live.
Doing it live.
Infus Nest.
Oh, okay,
My mother started the rebellion.
whatever. Hey, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we will profess our undying love and devotion to said Enfys Nest if
Fair
it
enough.
gets us fucking passes to get in there.
Okay. I will accept that.
We'll beg for passes.
Okay.
Basically.
Yes.
Oh, you know what we should do? We should have a montage, Rick and Morty style.
Gotta do a montage.
You haven't seen an episode of Rick and Morty, have you?
I've seen one episode of Rick and Morty.
The Meeseeks one, right?
Yes.
Oh, there's a great one where they have the Kirkland brand Meeseeks. It's
Kirkland brand?
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Like Costco?
Yeah. It's fucking great. And I'm behind on the newest season. I'm a horrible harbor human.
Oh. Yeah. Top Gun trailer. Like, we have to see Top Gun in the fucking
40X. Yeah,
We
I agree.
have to. I didn't realize that's like late in the summer too, is when that's coming out. Like, we've been seeing trailers for months.
I know.
It's like, God damn it.
Getting us all at full
want it
full
now.
froth.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
All right, we're out. Thanks, everybody. You guys are the best. We love you. There's your snap quota.